Well, hello and welcome everybody to the new health conversation. And for all the censors out there who monitor the community guidelines, we always tell you at the new health conversation that the only thing we ever share with our audiences is peer-reviewed human trial medical studies published in the public domain so that everybody can see that we're not making any claims. Everything that we talk about is backed by peer-reviewed medical published studies. We've written 4 best-selling books with some of the biggest medical doctors in the world, over 20 shows on public broadcasting, over 1,500 live lectures around the world in hospitals and universities and towns. We even went to China. Also was a keynote speaker at Autism One in Chicago, one of the largest autism conferences in the world, 2 years in a row. So everything that we share with the people coming on here is based on medical proof. So I want all of you to understand that nothing we're going to share with you is not based on medical proof. She really lost 21 pounds and 38 inches in just 30 days with no exercise, no calorie counting. This will make every diet you're on completely obsolete. It's not some sales gimmick. We have nothing to sell. We're scientists, we're researchers. We're bringing you and making you aware of these new breakthrough studies that took 40 years of research, 100 studies, thousands of people over 40 years, and the research determined that everything that we've been doing as far as diets is a miserable failure. Evidenced by the fact in 4 years, they estimate, Johns Hopkins Medical School, 86% of you will be overweight or obese in just 4 years. Do any of you really believe that any diet you're on actually works? We're going to explain to you in just a moment exactly what you can do. But the minimum on this is normally about 5 pounds a week. We got people like Curtis here. He's 65 years old. He lost 10 pounds a week, 52 inches. And look at his blood work. His A1C went from 8.4 to 6.4. Triglycerides 242. They dropped to 124 in a month. This is the most comprehensive medical examination ever done on diet, nutrition, and health. It took them 13 years in some cases. Some of these studies took that long to come out and be published in these huge medical journals. And when I say huge medical journals, I'm literally talking about people like the Obesity Journal, like Frontiers in Physiology, Nutrients, the Nutrition Journal, Frontiers in Nutrition, and Nature Communications, which is arguably one of the top, absolute top medical journals in the entire world. This is going to change your life. And it only takes a few minutes for you to listen to exactly how in the world did they do it. We've also provided you with, you'll see it right here above her name, visit the new health conversation. Why would you want to go there? Because it's a medical site with the medical proof. There's nothing to buy on that site. We have nothing to sell you. Also notice free coaching, free coaching. How much is the coaching? It's free. And we teach you and show you the foods you're going to eat that were picked out by these researchers, and a completely new way of eating. But how excited would you be, any of you, if you could lose 5 pounds a week, 5 pounds a week, up to 10 pounds a week? We got people, for example, like Mary here. She lost 200 pounds in a year. She's kept it off. This is, look at, there's no loose skin, no surgery of any kind. Now you can think it's fake. If you think this podcast is fake, you're on the wrong podcast. Then go follow these other influencers, of which show me one of them, not to disparage them, that have one shred of medical evidence. We have on that website, you'll actually get to see the medical studies. We have nothing to hide. It's in the public domain. So everything that we talk about, you get to see. But the problem is that you're all counting calories. Why in the world are you doing that? The calorie counting thing is totally dead. It's over. It's finished. We got people like Harvard Medical School. We have Medicare. And I'll give you just a short couple sentences from the major researchers now on calories in, calories out. And then we'll explain to you exactly what she did, what they did to lose this kind of weight. So the deadly delusion of calorie counting. Abandon calories in, calories out now. This is from the top weight loss researchers in the world, okay? Here's what they said. Calories in, calories out is a dangerous fraud. The body completely ignores calories, which are merely a lab-invented unit of energy with no corresponding biological sensor or mechanism. Instead, your body craves essential air, water, and nutrition to function. Where hunger acts as a signal for nutrient deficiencies, not calorie deficiencies, rendering calorie tracking not just ineffective, but a harmful distraction that perpetuates obesity cycles and dieting failures. Do you know, according even now to Medicare in a new big study that they just published, I have it right here. Let me read it to everybody. It's the title, Medicare Surge for Effective Obesity Treatments. Diets are not the answer. Now you can pretend that you didn't hear this, or you can pay attention. Listen to what they said. Our researchers reviewed studies of long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether dieting is an effective treatment of obesity. The researchers were shocked when they found that 2/3 of dieters regained more weight than they lost on any diet. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits, okay? So, if you think that calorie counting works, you're on the wrong podcast. Now we're going to explain to you how in the world did they do this? How did she lose 5 pounds? She only had 30 pounds to lose, and she lost 21 pounds in a month, okay? So what the researchers did after 40 years, 100 studied thousands of people over 40 years, they determined that diets don't work for one real simple reason. Every diet out there that you're on, at the end of the day, is some form of counting calories. The problem with that is your body can't count a calorie. It doesn't know what a calorie is. It's the most ridiculous thing anybody's ever done. Your body, you're alive because of 3 things: air, water, not calories, nutrition. So the researchers said why diets fail. Here's what a diet is. It's reducing the amount of food you're consuming. But they never tell you the other thing you're reducing the amount of nutrition. When your brain senses there's not enough nutrition, because it's the nutrition that keeps you alive. It's what runs all your organs. So now there's not enough fuel. What does the brain do? It reacts violently and puts you in starvation mode and turns your muscles into fuel and slows down your metabolism because there's not enough fuel to run all the organs. But the other thing it's doing to you, not for you, when you lose lean muscle, and I'll explain that to you in a moment, you also slow down your own immune system. So the very diet you're on is making you unhealthy. Now that may shock you, and against all the experts that you're hearing, but all the experts have been telling you for years, they're still doing it today, calories in, calories out. And yet from 1995 to 2025, the obesity rates in the United States have doubled. So these researchers were right. What they did, they went out and they selected foods with, although less quantity, they didn't care about the quantity. Only thing that mattered was, do you have enough nutrition to run all your organs so the brain doesn't burn your muscles for fuel? That was the theory. So they put together a grocery list that you all would get. Let me speak slowly. The grocery list is made up of proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. You would buy it from your grocery store. But instead of giving you calorie amounts, these researchers don't want anybody counting calories ever again. The serving sizes were based on one principle: high levels of nutrition. Proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. But only whatever you spent last month on groceries, you'd only spend 30. People ask, how much is it? Let me explain it to you. 30% of what you spent last month you'd buy from your grocery store. But here's what separates this from everything else. The other 70% of the money left will pretty much cover these other foods that came from other researchers who've gone around the world for 20 years to places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition. So now you had the food you're going to consume, and she consumed 30% from your grocery store and 70% from these, what the researchers have called now the world's most perfect meals from a nutritional standpoint. The researchers actually said, unless you're on a prescription for low iron or low or calcium, you don't need any other supplements. They're convinced this is the world's most perfect meal from a nutritional standpoint. There's no lotions, potions, pills, capsules. It doesn't work like that. Then they invented a new way of eating. Now this is going to blow your mind. 5 days a week she had, and you would have 4 meals a day. That's called protein pacing. It's so advanced, the U.S. Patent Office actually granted them a registered trademark for this new way of eating. They started the day with the world's most perfect meals from these foods from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. That was breakfast. Lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner. This exotic are the world's most perfect meals. And it has to be 4 meals a day. They tried all variations. They had breakfast, skip lunch, do dinner. That didn't work. They had skip breakfast, do lunch and dinner. That didn't work. All the nutrition at lunch, one meal, didn't work. The pacing mattered, and that's how they ended up with a registered trademark. They proved it. They proved it in the medical analysis they gave to the patent office, okay? So 5 days a week, you're going to have 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, no food from your grocery store. Don't freak out. And you're only eating the world's most perfect meal. But this time, you're going to eat 8 times a day. You're going to eat every hour and a half to 2 hours. Now, this is until you lose your weight, by the way. Now, here's the other part. On this protocol, despite the fact 2 days a week, the diabetics were having 8 meals a day and regular people, but the diabetics, no one had insulin spikes. And also, here's the part you want to really pay attention to. This is the most comprehensive medical analysis ever done on diets, nutrition, and health. They did massive research. They did blood stool, urine, fat analysis. They did what's called body composition, which is how much lean muscle mass do you have. They looked at liver enzymes. They look at blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, enzymes. Massive. Okay, and here's what they found. The biggest thing on this, it's not a diet, it's a detox. And they proved that this was assisting the body in removing chemicals that you're all storing inside you. Don't be naive enough to think we're not living in a toxic world and you're drinking and you're breathing and you're eating these chemicals, and as they enter the body, the immune system can't deal with them. So what is the body doing to protect us? It takes the chemical and stuffs it inside what's called our visceral fat. That's the fat around your organs. And think of it, the visceral fat like a balloon. So the chemical comes in and the fat cell expands. That's why you all complain about the amount of fat you have, not just how much weight you've lost. And don't let anybody tell you on a diet or on exercise you burn fat. Total fabrication. You're born with a certain number of fat cells, you die with a certain number of fat cells, and those fat cells can expand or contract. If you look at her stomach on day 1, there's the bloating that a lot of you complain about. And then look at her stomach on day 30. That's with no exercise at all. They actually wore Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising. Now, I understand this is probably shocking most of you. Maybe you're skeptical. Maybe you think I'm full of it. I'm not full of it. I spent 23 years of my life as a nutritional researcher working with some of the top medical doctors, oncologists, molecular biologists, geneticists, nutraceutical chemists in the whole world. I did 20 shows on PBS. I was interviewed on 4 of the biggest daytime shows in America and over 1,500 lectures in universities and hospitals. And for 21 of my 23 years in the medical world, all that academia meant zero. Why? Because there were no peer-reviewed human trial studies. Do you all understand that a peer-reviewed human trial study, there's nothing higher in medical research? No drug ever gets approved without a peer-reviewed human trial study. You hear this on TV all the time. Well, you get a scientifically tested ingredient. Nonsense. Unless it's done on human beings and it's reviewed and published. It has to be published in these huge medical journals. It doesn't mean anything in the medical world. Like no drug would ever get approved without a peer-reviewed human trial study published. Okay, so you understand, this is the highest level that's ever been done. And I would challenge any of you, show me anybody on social media that you're following that's showing you one shred of medical evidence. Oh, they're coming on and talking about, oh, do time-restricted eating. You don't eat for 16, you eat for 8. It's simple. You lose 20 pounds in a month and most of it's fat. Complete fabrication. I'll prove it to you right here. Excuse me. Here's the Journal of the American Medical Association on this time-restricted eating nonsense, which it is nonsense. And they said, our researchers reviewed time-restricted eating where people fasted for 16 hours and eat for 8. Over 3 months, we found that people gained almost no benefit from it, lost only 2 to 3.5 pounds, and the weight they shed was lean muscle mass. And when you look at the actual data on 12-month studies based on time-restricted eating, do you know what the weight loss was? 14 pounds in a year, and 25 to 40% of what they're losing, not just on time-restricted eating, but every diet, is your lean muscle mass. Therefore, that slows down your metabolism. That's why you're going to gain all the weight back. So all the people jumping off here, they're going to go back to their diet, think that's made up. You're going to get 2/3 are going to weigh more than when you started. 2/3 of you weigh more than what you started on any diet out there. That's not an opinion on my part. That's the medical proof. This is going to change the world. And we offer you a free website. Look right, visit the New Health Conversation. It's a free medical website. The only thing there is the medical proof. And if you go there and you like what you see, we won't contact you. We're not going to contact you because we want to give you the option. You can scroll down, look, free coaching. Guess how much the coaching is? Free. Guess how much the consultation is? Free. We got coached ourselves, but we're researchers. We didn't do this. We didn't create this, but we're making it available to all of you around the world for free. The knowledge, we coach you for free. We'll call you, text you, FaceTime, whatever you want. And thank goodness we have tons of people that are volunteering to help us because they're going on it, having amazing. What is the 4 meal? I just explained it to you. The first meal is the world's most perfect, these foods from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, and New Zealand, okay? Lunch is from a grocery store list of proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables based on serving sizes. Nothing to do with calorie counting. What's so sad is that people still believe, and it's why they don't stay on here, that calories in, calories out. It's dead. Do you understand? Calorie counting is dead. It never should have been done in the first place. Your body can't count a calorie. It doesn't know what a calorie is. It has no sense. So this nonsense I'm telling you about, it's about calories in, calories out, calorie deficit. It's just ridiculous. It's a ridiculous argument. And all of you, you're in a position where you could lose as much weight in a week as in a month or 2 months of dieting. You can definitely lose as much weight in a month as a year on any diet. And I'll back that up. Journal of the American Medical Association, 12-month study, where they looked at 48 different trials, 7,286 people, and named all the major diets: keto, paleo, Mediterranean, time-restricted eating, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, Noom, Zone, whatever diet it was. The most amount of weight loss on any diet in a year was 16 pounds, and 25 to 40% of what they lost was lean muscle mass. This is the Journal of the American Medical Association. This is me telling you this. And yet you're not valuable enough to yourselves to spend a couple minutes to learn how to do this, and then you get to go and see the medical proof for free. It's just sad. We're so misled. We're so misled. We got 50% of our kids now overweight, and about a third of them are pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic, which type 2 diabetes in children 35 years ago didn't even exist. There were no cases. Does anyone think this is actually working? And then let's talk about the shots, which are not against the shots, okay? What just happened here, folks? Hold on. So, sorry. I don't know why they did that. I must have hit something wrong. Hold on. Sorry, everybody. Someone had a camera issue here. There we go. All right, sorry about that. Anyway, I would like to ask any of you, the few that are still left on here, how in the world do you really think that the diet you're on now, we're not arguing you're going to lose weight, but you really believe you're going to keep it off? And what if I told you that the research says that 25 to 40% of every pound you're losing on any diet is your lean muscle mass? It just is. It's not something I'm making up, okay? I mean, if you went and did the research, you'd see for yourself. But they're not telling you that. They're telling you this stuff like, there's this one that you take this beet and it's supposed to lower your blood pressure. Oh, scientifically tested ingredient. Well, when you look at the data, you'd need to take like 500 of their pills to have any medical impact. It's called borrowed science. That's what these companies do. And they'll do an internal study. No, that doesn't matter in the medical world. You want the drug manufacturers to do their own studies and come up with the drugs? Really? Really? This is going to change your life if you'll just take a few minutes, go to the website, visit the New Health Conversation, look at the medical proof. You don't have to believe me. But if you go out in the world today, if you go to the mall, if you're lucky enough still to be in a place where you can go to the beach this weekend, Look at the situation. Look what's going on. And it's a worldwide problem. We have 1 billion people worldwide clinically obese. And you're listening to these researchers. They're giving you lip service with no proof. Anybody, show me any person you're following with any, let alone 10 published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. Why in the hell are you fighting to stay on these diets to maybe lose a half a pound a week? It's even worse than that. The most they're losing on these diets when they do these long-term studies in a year is about 16 pounds. Do the math. 16 pounds, that's about 1 pound and 4 ounces a month. Come on. Yes, you lose weight initially, but then you know it strolls to a trickle, and then it starts to come back, and you're terrified. You're going to gain all the weight back. Well, 2/3, you're going to end up weighing more than when you started. Somebody has to be the canary in the coal mine. I guess that's me. But we have the medical proof to back it up, and we don't sell anything. So where's the agenda here? The agenda is to educate you because we're in crisis. I mean, Johns Hopkins Medical School says in 4 years, 86% of you are going to be overweight or obese. Please tell me, anyone, put it in the chat. Tell me diets you think work. They don't work. How could they possibly work? You're counting calories, only it's really ridiculous. Why? Your brain has no idea what a calorie is. It doesn't calculate calories. Calories simply something that is not real. It's real, but it's not what makes you hungry. It's not what makes your body, it's not what makes you healthy. Calories have nothing to do with it. The only thing your body cares about, and the only thing you should be caring about, is how much nutrition am I putting in my body to fuel all my organs. Even if you eat healthy, a lot of people tell me, well, I eat whole foods and I go, I buy from the farmer's market. Nice try. But our food in this country, well, around the world now, is becoming really nutritionally insufficient. They estimate a bowl of spinach from 1957, the iron levels, according to Cornell University, by 2020, you'd have to eat about 20 bowls of spinach to equal the amount of iron in spinach from 20 years ago. And obviously, a lot of people have taken supplements for those reasons. I get it. But imagine if you could get all your nutrition from food. How would that be? That's what these researchers did. Because 70% of what she consumed and what you would consume in this doesn't come from your home country. It comes from Russia. Well, unless you live in one of those countries. It comes from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. And it's the combination of those nutrients from those faraway regions together make up what's called the world's most perfect meal from a nutritional standpoint. We don't sell you anything. Do you get it? We have nothing to sell you. You either buy directly from your grocery store and you get a grocery list. 30% of what she consumed, proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables, came from her grocery store. But the researchers gave her serving sizes, not calorie amounts. There's no calorie counting on this at all. None. Okay? The other 70% of what she consumed came from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. Huge amounts of nutrition, but smaller quantities of food. Some of these foods come from those blue zones where people living to be 100 years old. Are any of your researchers giving you food? They want to sell you recipes. I see this one thing that's going on. You can get a year's worth of recipes for $500, and then it costs you $50 a month to have a coach. A coach is going to coach you on recipes, really, with not one shred of medical evidence. I mean, and they got like 1 million followers. I wish I had 1 million followers. I mean, we're slower, okay, right? But we're scientists. We're researchers. And it's not even my research. We're bringing you the research. I'm called a lot of names, but one of them is the researcher of the researchers. But I've written 4 best-selling books. I've done 20 shows on public broadcasting. I was interviewed on the 4 biggest daytime shows in America and did over 1,500 live lectures in hospitals, in universities, and towns before COVID. They even flew me to China before COVID, of course. You have an opportunity to change your life. I'm not here to convince you. If you need convincing, if you go to that website and you need convincing after that, now you may have questions, that's different. But if you don't believe in the research that's now, this protocol, the proof is published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world, I don't know what to tell you. What do you believe? Do you believe these influences that you're following that are giving you nothing but lip service? They don't have any medical proof. If they had medical proof, they'd show it to you. Why aren't they showing you? Because they don't have any. And why don't they have the medical proof? Because you've got to understand, when you go to submit to peer-reviewed review by these medical journals, they have one job: to discredit what you're proving. Because their reputation rests on them giving you information you can rely on that's reliable and safe. And yeah, I know they make mistakes. But it's the highest level of scrutiny we have in the whole world. No drug ever gets approved without a peer-reviewed human trial medical study published in these big medical journals. Does everyone understand that? So how many of you would like to lose 5? This is the minimum people lose, about 5 pounds a week. I'm not kidding you. And look at April here. 60 pounds in 3 months. That's 5 pounds a week for 3 straight months. Look at her face, look at her arms, look at her body. Now you can think it's Photoshop. If you think we Photoshop or we're making anything up, you're on the wrong podcast. Go follow someone else. We're realistic. We give you a free website. It's free to go there. And what's on the website? The medical proof. Nothing else. We will not contact you if you go to that website, but you can contact us. You can get a free coach. It's not a gimmick. It's not like you get there and then, oh, it's $50 for the coach or $50. No, it's free. The coaching's free the whole time. We got to do something different, don't we? Or do you think it's going to be okay in 4 years? John Hopkins Medical School projects, 86% of you are going to be overweight, obese in 4 years. I mean, look at this, everybody. The biggest threat to your health is obesity. It's not up for debate. Harvard Medical School proves obesity leads to 50 known diseases. We're not making up anything. We're certainly not fat shaming. We're trying to help you. You got this, you're banging your head against the wall with these crazy diets. None of them have ever been proven to keep weight off long term. That's not my opinion. The studies right here, why you shouldn't count calories. Truth is, calorie counting is a terrible approach for weight loss. While counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. And what's worse, 2/3 of those counting and restricting calories gain back more weight than they lost. This is not my opinion, everybody. You think what you're doing is going to work long term? I hope it does. But there's no medical evidence to give you the confidence that that's going to happen. And for the few people that are exposed to this podcast, which I do 4 of them a day, 5 of them a day, screaming, who wants to know? What? At least I'm here. This is live. You got a chance. Don't you want to know how she lost 5 pounds a week? Don't you want to know how Curtis lost 10 pounds a week at 65 years old? Look at his blood work, his A1C from 8.4 to 6.4, triglycerides 242 to 124 in 30 days. He is on diabetic medication. They had to cut his meds by 50% in 30 days. His doctors did on this protocol. And he's kept the weight up for 8 or 9 years. Look at his stomach. Again, if you think this is Photoshop, you're on the wrong podcast. Then go follow these other influencers that don't have one shred of medical evidence. They're going to lead you down a path where you will lose weight initially, and 2/3 you're going to weigh more than what you did when you started. That's not my opinion. I'm going to repeat it again from Medicare. Medicare's search for effective obesity treatments. This is Medicare saying this. Diets are not the answer. Our researchers at Medicare were shocked when they analyzed the outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether dieting is an effective treatment for obesity. The study showed that 2/3 of dieters regained more weight than they lost. This is Medicare, for crying out loud. You think it's my opinion? You're following opinions of people. I see one, he's got all these followers. He's a chef. Nothing wrong with being a chef, but it's not a nutritional researcher. I mean, come on. It's what? Why don't we follow our go to our dry cleaner to get weight loss advice or health advice? This is medical proof now. We have the medical proof. They're published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. And look at Julie, everybody. How about 35 pounds in 37 days? 35 pounds in 37 days. Aren't any of you curious? No one are even asking me, how did they do this? How did they do it? It's sad in a way, because you're all believing what we've all been taught, including me before I became a researcher. Calories in, calories out, count your calories, carbs, cycle recycling, count your macros, carnivore, whatever. None of it's so pitiful. I have the numbers here. Let me. Oh yeah, here it is. These are from the top weight loss researchers in the world now. The title, A Grand Myth of Traditional Diets. Traditional diets, be they low fat, low carb, keto, carnivore, macrocarnivore sessions, or the latest fad, time restricted eating, where you don't eat for 16 hours, eat for 8, seduce millions with vows of dramatic weight loss and radiant health. But the brutal truth, etched in decades of unyielding scientific evidence, shatters this illusion. These diets deliver fleeting illusions of progress, followed by inevitable regain of all the weight, negligible long-term medical results, and a hidden toll on your body to lose the critically important lean muscle mass, 25 to 40% on any diet, lowering your metabolism and lowering your own immune system. So the very diet you're on is actually making you less healthy. Now, you may not believe that, but what else do we rely on? You're going to take someone's opinion on social media? I don't want you to believe me. No, don't believe me. I don't care. I mean, I do care, but I don't care, because you can go to that website and see. I'm going to show you the website right now. Show you. Type in the new health. Where do you see this, everybody? The New Health Conversation. Look, it's right there. People say, what's the website? There it is, the New Health Conversation. It'll take you to the link in Google. Click on the link, and there's the website. Nothing to buy on that website. The only thing there is the medical proof, including number 1, an exclusive podcast with the number 1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world, who he and his team created this, and they have no products to sell. There are no products to sell here. There's no magic elixir at the end. I'm going to say, oh, buy this magic drink and you're going to lose weight. Nonsense, nonsense, nonsense. No. And 3, Three, you can actually see the peer-reviewed studies. They're on the website. Who else is showing you that? Please, someone tell me. Wake me up. Tell me you're following people that are telling you to count calories. It's dead. It's over. It doesn't work. There's no study supporting calorie counting, keeping weight off ever. Ever. I mean, look, here's a good way to think about it. In 1964, about 12% of the population was overweight or obese. In 1964, chronic disease was nearly zero. The CDC just came out on Thursday and said 76.4% of you adults are chronically ill with 3 of 5 factors: overweight, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high triglycerides, and obviously weight, and more than that. But how do you even calculate that? 76% of Americans have chronic disease? I mean, oh my gosh. And do you know, sadly, most of those diseases are lifestyle, like type 2 diabetes, like high blood pressure, like cardiovascular, all those things are being done. And yet, what are you doing? You're all going on diets that are miserable failures that Johns Hopkins Medical School says in 4 years, 86% of you are going to be overweight or obese. Does anyone want to know how in the world can you do this? What do you do? How do you do it? Does anybody want to know? I can't believe no one puts it in the chat and asks me. What are you making an assumption? You know what this is? You're making an assumption it's a diet, which it's not. Would it shock you to know that this is a detox? This has nothing to do with counting calories. They don't even let you count calories on this. It was invented by the top medical researchers in the world, or not medical, but weight loss, nutrition physiologists in the world. And they had done 40 years of research, 100 studies, thousands of people, and they proved the same thing, that no diet ever worked long term. They never found a diet where people lost weight and kept it off. I can't believe that people are just jumping off. It's just crazy. You have a chance to change the rest of your life and you're not valuable enough to stay on. You get bored. You think probably you think it's not real. And if you do think this is fake, you're on the wrong podcast, okay? I don't care if I can help one person on my podcast. I say it every time. It's worth the time and effort to do it for all of you. Who else is doing it for you? You're following, I don't care if it's a medical doctor or a chiropractor or a dietitian or a nutritionist. Who in the hell is showing you the real medical proof? They're painting all these flowery pictures about, oh, you can lose 20 pounds in a month and most of it's fat. That's a complete lie. There's no such thing as burning fat. You're born with a certain amount of fat cells, you die with a certain amount of fat cells, and they can expand and contract over your lifetime. Look at her stomach on day 1, everybody. I'll get out of the way. Look at that bloating, and then look at her stomach on day 30. It's proven in the medical proof. She gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. She lost no water weight. So that shrinkage is not because she lost water weight or because she lost lean muscle. The opposite is true. The fat cells shrank and the lean muscle mass increased. I mean, you can look at Julie is a great example. 35 pounds in 37 days. Look at the change in her body composition. Now, if you think that's fake, again, you're on the wrong podcast. Then go follow the people that are giving you nothing but nonsense. Am I making sense to everybody? Does everybody get this? We have 270 likes. Come on, let's get some more taps on that screen, hopefully to get some more likes. But I'd love to interact with the audience. This is completely live. This isn't pre-recorded. I've been a nutritional researcher for 23 years. I'm not trying to impress you, but I'm not just some guy. I've written 4 best-selling books, some of the biggest medical doctors in the world, 20 shows on public broadcasting, 1,500 live lectures around the world in hospitals and universities and towns. They flew me to China. I was a keynote at Autism One in Chicago 2 years in a row, one of the biggest autism conferences in the world. I'm not telling you to try and brag, but I'm not just some guy. And certainly nothing that we share with you on the New Health Conversation is our opinion. Our opinion shouldn't matter to any of you. What should matter is medical proof. And we have the medical proof published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. This protocol is the most scrutinized, medically examined protocol in history. They did blood, stool, urine, fat analysis. They did body composition, which means lean muscle. They did liver enzymes. They did blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, and they measured inflammation. This is not a diet. The weight loss, it's going to be great. You're going to be excited about that. But it's the least important part, because the other part about this is sustainability. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. That's what should be of interest to all of you. It's not a question, can we get the weight off you? That we can see it there. You're going to lose 5, 7, 10 pounds a week. Don't believe me? Look at this guy, 65 years old, 10.2 pounds a week. But look at his blood work. That's what's impressive. His A1C went from 8.4 to 6.4 triglycerides. 242, they dropped to 124 in 30 days. Show me any drug you could go on that would produce those kind of results. And he's a diabetic, and he and the other diabetics on here, almost across the board, their medical doctors cut their meds by up to 50% in a month. 50%. So they were in glucophage, metformin, insulin, doesn't matter, because their body was working so much better. Why are all of you so reluctant to even ask, how did they do it? Do you think you have it figured out? You think you're looking at this and, oh, it's just a diet. Oh, that's unhealthy to lose that much weight that fast. Well, on a diet, it would never even happen. But on a diet, they tell you don't lose more than a pound a week because it's so unhealthy, because the evidence is there. 25 to 40% of what you're losing on any diet is your lean muscle mass. The researchers knew this. And they said the main problem with any diet that any of you are on, and here's the biggest thing you're all facing, the biggest threat to your health is obesity or being overweight. Obese is the extreme version, of course. And we know that Harvard Medical School said obesity leads to 50 known diseases. And what are we doing about it? Keto, paleo, Mediterranean, time-restricted eating, Cornish zone, lose weight for your blood type, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, Noom, and now the shots. None of it works long-term, ladies and gentlemen. I'll prove it to you. So here's and we're not against the shots, the GLP-1s, all right? But I want to do a comparison for you. This is the New England Journal of Medicine. You all can go look it up. It's in the public domain for all my censors. So we're not making a claim, we're reading from the medical proof, okay? This study was on semaglutide, and title was Semaglutide in adults that are overweight or obese. 68 weeks, everyone. That's a year and 4 months, right? Right from the study, the weight loss after 68 weeks was 32 pounds, and of the 32 pounds people lost, 40% was lean muscle mass. And New England Journal of Medicine said this is clinically relevant reductions in body weight. 32 pounds in 68 weeks. She lost 21 pounds in a month and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle. We have the medical proof to back it up. It's not a claim that we're making. It was the peer-reviewed human trial studies were done. That was the results. It's real science. It's real proof. Doesn't anyone want to know how she did it? TJ Park said hi. Hi, TJ. Okay, well, I'm going to explain it to all of you anyway, whether you want to know or not, and you can jump off if you don't like me or you don't like the information, that's cool. But you're just kidding yourselves. If any of you think the diet you're on now is sustainable, I can only tell you what the science says, that 2/3 of you, whatever diet, paleo, keto, Mediterranean, carnivore, I don't care what it is, you're going to gain back more weight than you lost. So this study was put together by the top weight loss nutrition physiology, not this study, this protocol. They had done 100 studies over 40 years, 4 decades. Okay, TJ, I promise I'm going to explain it to you right now. What they did, first of all, they said, what we want to do is after 40 years of looking at 100 studies, thousands of people, they never found a diet in 40 years where people lost weight and kept it off long term. I'm just telling all of you. So what did they say? They said, why do all diets fail? All diets fail because, can anybody tell me they agree or disagree? All diets are some form of counting calories at the end of the day. The problem with that is your body has no idea what a calorie is. It doesn't count calories. So this whole nonsense about calories in, calories out, thermodynamics, which doesn't apply to the human body. That's one of the biggest myths out there. They say, oh, well, it's about thermodynamics. Well, thermodynamics in physics applies to a closed loop system. The human body is an open system. So right away, it doesn't apply. And I have the proof over here with the scientists who said that's crazy. But let's deal with calories in, calories out for a moment. Since your body has no idea what a calorie is, why are you counting calories? Can anybody even give me the medical definition of a calorie? Do any of you know? Put it in the chat if you do. I've had 12 people get it right, over 1,000 podcasts over the last year and a half. 12 people have ever given me the definition of a calorie, and yet you're all counting calories. So the researchers said, we're throwing calories out. No calorie counting on this protocol. This protocol was based on a real solid principle, and that was this. You need a minimum amount of nutrition, not calories, to run all the organs in your body. Your organs don't run on calories, they run on nutrition. Okay, so what did they do? They put together a food list, 2 groups of food. 30% you would buy from your grocery store wherever you live in the world, but you're going to get a list of foods based on not calorie counting, serving sizes, proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. You get a list, you take it to your grocery store, and whatever you spent last month total on food, 30% of that, that's all you're going to need to spend this month at your grocery store, but you'll have a list based on serving sizes of proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. Got that, everybody? But that's only 30% of what you spend or what you're going to consume. Here's what separates us from any damn diet you're on, anywhere in the world. The other 70% of you'd spend and the food you'd buy doesn't come from your homeland. And even if it did come from your homeland, it comes from multiple areas in the world. It comes, these foods that they found, other researchers found, not the people who invented this. They'd come from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. And those researchers who spent 20 years going to those areas to bring back these foods with enormous amounts of nutrition, but smaller quantities of food. Everybody got it? So 30% of what you're going to buy dollar-wise and consumption-wise is from your grocery store. The other 70% you're going to buy and consume comes from these exotic locations around the world in Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand that represent huge amounts of nutrition you can't get in your home country. I don't care if you think you're doing it with organic. No way, because some of these nutrients that come from these faraway places don't exist in your homeland. Okay? So now they had the food, and then what did they do? They invented a new way of eating. What? Yeah. As a matter of fact, it's so advanced, the U.S. Patent Office gave them a registered trademark for this new way of eating called protein pacing. You can all look it up, right? What's protein pacing? Well, here's what they did. 5 days a week, they let her have 4 meals a day. She started with these, what the researchers call the world's most perfect meals from a nutritional standpoint, which is the only thing your body cares about. Your body doesn't care about calories, okay? That was breakfast. Lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal, the world's most perfect meal after dinner. Now it's going to be 4 meals. They tried doing it like breakfast and dinner. Didn't work. They tried doing skip breakfast, have lunch, and then have dinner. Then they had people eat 1 meal a day, all their nutrition, same amount of nutrition, same amount of food. Didn't work. The 4 meals made all the difference in the world, the spacing. That's why it's called protein pacing. Hopefully I'm making sense to everybody. Then 2 days a week, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods around the world, but this time you, me, she would eat 8 times a day. You'd be eating an hour and a half for 2 hours. Now, if you're diabetic, don't panic. No one had insulin spikes. And like I said, let me explain to you the medical analysis on this. Never done before. They did blood, stool, urine, fat analysis. They did liver enzymes. They did blood sugar, blood pressure, cholesterol, triglycerides. They measured inflammation, and they also proved this is a detox. They absolutely proved through blood, stool, urine, and fat, this was helping remove the chemicals you're all storing in your body. And no diet has ever touched the chemical inside your body. Ever, ever, ever. They proved, look at her stomach. See, the reason you all complain about the amount of fat you have, especially around your abdomen area, is because your body, to protect you, is taking the chemicals. We're living in a chemical world, everybody. The water, the air, the food is loaded with chemicals as they come in our body. The body, to protect you, takes the chemical and stuffs it inside the fat cell. They have the medical proof that this is assisting the body in removing the chemicals. That's why she shrank so much. Not only that, she lost no water weight because they measured it, and she gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass, and nobody was allowed, and no one was allowed to exercise. No exercise at all. So does that make sense to everybody? Now, all of you too, to see more proof, visit the New Health Conversation. It's a free medical website. Did you hear that, everybody? It's free to go there. And we won't contact you if you go there. But if you do go there, you'll see free coaching. No, it's free coaching. But you get to determine. We're not going to, if you go there, we're not going to contact you. Why would we need to contact you? The medical proof is there. Now, the coach is there. They've done the protocol. They're trained to help you. Look, and why wouldn't you want a free personal consult? We got kids as young as 2 doing parts of this. We have a lady 91 years old. We have people with no thyroids. People say, what about hyperthyroidism? What about menopause? Oh, forget it. In a good way. This is the only, this medical research that was done on this has never been done before. No one's ever looked. For example, inflammation. It came down 25% in a month. That's never been seen before. And the key to this is maintenance. You know how simple maintenance is? Like this morning, I had the world's most perfect meal for breakfast. I'll have lunch in a couple hours, and I'll have dinner tonight. And every maybe 8 weeks, I'll do another of the no food from my grocery store, only these exotic foods around the world, and 8 times a day. To do what? To detox. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I mean, look at some of these numbers. Look at Ken, 34 pounds in 29 days. He didn't even go 30. Look at that. Now, if you think that's Photoshop, you're on the wrong podcast. Seriously, go follow someone telling you about keto or paleo or time restricted eating, all this nonsense. It's all nonsense. There's no medical proof behind any of it. None. If they had it, they'd show it to you. What, do you think they're holding back? They don't have any proof. Do you understand that? They have no proof. I see PhDs and all these titles and these fancy things, and they're on television. They don't have one damn shred of medical evidence. And even now, nationally, they're recognizing the problem. We're living in a toxic world. The food is loaded with chemicals. Really? Hell, I've been talking about this for 23 years. I discovered a medical syndrome. Every one of you have this, including me. TDOS. It's a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office of a new medical condition. T for toxins being stored in your body caused by the lack of nutrition in our food, overweight, and stress. Peter Greenlaw, that's me. I discovered it. So I'm not just some person up here just yakking. I see people on these sites with 1 million followers, and then when I do the research, they're a chef. A chef? And they're going to give you recipes? When did they do medical research on what they're claiming? They didn't. It's all nonsense. It's so nonsensical. And go to the mall and see today what's going on. Look, he's saying no instance fight is what's up. Well, look at this right here. Look at Curtis TJ. Look at this. His A1C went from 8.4 to 6.4. His triglycerides 242 to 124 in 30 days. And he lost 40 pounds in a month. 40. You trying to tell me if there's anything like this, great, but where are the medical studies? And this is published. It's published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world, this protocol. Who else, whether it's, I'm not saying you're arguing with me, but Dog Days or TJ Sparks or any of you. I'm going to the videos. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, TJ, do you know where to go? TJ, let me put it up there again. See, visit the New Health Conversation. It's not just the videos, it's the medical proof. And then if you like what you see, TJ, or Dog Dad's already gone there, scroll down, you get a free coach. Now, one thing I want to say to you is when you go to the free coaches, it's 100% money back guarantee. That's a little misleading, not on purpose. So to do this protocol, 30% of what you spent last month, you'd spend at your grocery store. The other 70%, you buy directly from these researchers who've gone around the world to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, and got these exotic foods that you'd buy. Well, that 70% you're spending, if in the first month this doesn't work, 100% money back guarantee. 100% money back guarantee. And you get free coaching. The coaching is free, everybody. How much is the coaching? Free. How much is the consultation? It's free. You're not buying anything from us. We don't have anything to sell you. You're buying food from your grocery store, and 30% of the food you consume in a month, and 70%. This is until you lose your weight. It's just, I understand it's fantastic. I understand you're probably skeptical. I see the number of people coming on and jumping off, and they think they have this figured out. They think it's a diet. They think, oh, it's fake. It's not fake. It's real. Are any of you going to tell me you're on a diet where you're losing 5 pounds a week on average, and it's sustainable? Look at this. 60 pounds in 3 months. 60 pounds in 3 months with no exercise. They wore Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising. She lost no water weight and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle. She should have loose skin. Look at her face, look at her arms, look at her stomach here. Where's loose skin, everybody? And she lost 60 pounds. 60, it's not 6 pounds, it's 60 in 3 months. How many of you think that this is real? How many of you think it's fake? I guess the ones that think it's fake have jumped off because we always have so few people that actually stick it out to find out. I don't understand why, at a minimum, then prove me wrong. Who is this guy? He's, a huckster, he's whatever. No, I'm a nutritional researcher for 23 years. I published 4 best-selling books, some of the top medical doctors in the world, and appeared 20 times on public broadcasting. You don't get on there if you're some kind of charlatan. I was a keynote at Autism One in Chicago, the largest autism conference in the world, 2 years in a row. You don't exactly get on there if you're not legitimate, especially when you're dealing with something with kids and autism, something so significant that in 1990, about 1 in 10,000 children were born autistic. This year, it's about 1 in 24, and it's about 1 in, I think, 15 boys born autistic. You think we got a problem now? Wait till you see what's going to happen with the cost, because a parent who has an autistic child, depending where they are on the spectrum, if the two parents are working, one parent has to give up working. Because and remember, they're going to live to be 70, or so. They need to be monitored, depending where they are in the spectrum. This is one of many catastrophes. You could look at cancer, you could look at heart disease, you could look at dementia, you could look at whatever. Whatever we're doing, if anybody thinks it's working, I'd love for you to put it in the chat. Because I don't get many people that even want to know, how in the world did she do this? Is it because you think that it's made up, it's fake, that's not real, it's unsafe to lose that much? That's your opinion, but that doesn't bear out in the medical world. I mean, this was medically analyzed from body fat to muscle mass to blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, to inflammation, to everything. And most women in this is a whole dress size in the first 7 days with no exercise allowed. So who else would like to ask me a question? Okay, then I'm going to explain it again. I know we get new people coming in here all the time. All right, so how did they do this? Well, first of all, it's not a diet. It has nothing to do with counting calories. If you go on this, your main goal, it may be weight loss, but when I get done with you, you'll understand that's just like a given. That's a throw-in. Well, let me ask you this. How excited would you be to lose 5 pounds a week? You all know I'm in South Africa. Sorry, they don't ship to South Africa. Paul. They don't ship to South Africa. The only way you could get it, you'd have to have it shipped to either a country in the EU, and if you have friends that could bring it down to you, or you could have it forwarded to you. I don't control that. We don't sell you anything. We have no products to sell. You're buying either from your grocery store, so you could get that list, but the other 70% of the food you can't get even in Africa. From Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, and the Himalayas, South America, and New Zealand. But because we don't sell you anything, it's these other researchers, and I know that Africa in general, they don't ship there. Maybe it's because of the laws. I'm not sure. I don't know. So the only way you could physically get it is if you shipped it to someone and they could reship it to you. And that's a possibility, I guess. Let's see, who else? Oh, Mama, on GLP-1s, let me share my thoughts on that with all of you. Now, first of all, let me explain something to you. We're not against the shots. They're helping diabetics and they're helping people who are morbidly obese. But I want to read to you, including you, Mama Paula, this is I'm holding it in my hand, the New England Journal of Medicine, arguably one of the 1 or 2 biggest medical journals in the world. They did a 68-week study. That's a year and 4 months, everybody, on, in this case, semaglutide in adults with overweight or obesity. You can all go look it up at Mama Paula. You can go there and look at it's the New England Journal of Medicine, once weekly semaglutide in adults with overweight or obesity. You can go and see the study, but I'll save you time. In 68 weeks, a year and 4 months, the weight loss was 32 pounds or 16 kilos. And of the 16 kilos or the 32 pounds people lost, 40% was lean muscle mass. I can guarantee you that people coming off the shots, because we're working with them, they're gaining as much as, like 4 or 5, let me put it in kilos. In kilos, they'd be gaining around, well, they're gaining about a half a pound a day and a pound to, so about 25% of a kilo per day. And they're gaining all their weight back in no time at all, because it says right in the report, 40% of what they lost was lean muscle, which slows down the metabolism. It's not up for debate. I mean, that's what's going on. And we're not against the shots. Don't hear me say that. We're contrasting with this, and this has no side effects, right? So, Mama Paula, does that make sense to you? And you can go look it up yourself. And we're not telling people not to do the shots. We're just saying you got the shot, 32 pounds or 16 kilos in 68 weeks, or this with 10 kilos in a month or 21 pounds in a month. Are you all not commenting because you think this is fake? Are you all not commenting because you think we're making things up? Are you all not commenting because you don't think this is possible? But it's published. You got to understand. It's already been proven. It's already been vetted in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. That's why it's so different. I'd love for any of you, Mom Paula, Dog, Trace, any of you, Crypto, Hill, High, is it High or Hill? I guess it's Hill. Please put in the chat anybody that you know of who has peer-reviewed human trial studies that are giving you advice that have peer-reviewed human trial studies. Who would it be? We've got all kinds of people that come on and they look and then they come off. So for the new people coming on, let me run through real quick the before and afters, and then I promise I'll come back and I'll show you how they did this, right? So this lady needed to lose 30 pounds or 15 kilos, ended up losing 21 pounds or 10 kilos in a month. No exercise, lost no water weight, and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle. And then Julie here, she lost 35 pounds or 17 and a half kilos in 37 days. Look at the change in her body composition. And then April, 60 pounds or 30 kilos in 3 months, and she's kept it off now for 8 or 9 years. That's something I didn't mention enough. This protocol is called R2M, Race to Maintenance. The whole goal here is to get the weight off as quickly as possible and then show you how to maintain it. I was 40 pounds or 20 kilos in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. I know this is all fantastic to most of you because I see no people don't even want to put anything in the chat. Maybe they don't like me. That's okay. The science doesn't care about me. It has no emotions. It has no prejudice. It just is. It doesn't discriminate. It works. And it works not because I'm telling you it works. It works because it's proven and published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. And they did the most comprehensive medical research ever done, analysis on it. They did blood, stool, urine, fat analysis. They did body composition. They did blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, mental acuity. They did inflammation. And all of those factors they stunned the researchers. And the researchers who created this, they had done 100 studies on human beings over 40 years. They never found a diet that ever worked long term. And believe it or not, the main reason to do this is not to lose weight. We have kids as young as 2 doing this. We have a lady 91 years old. We have people with no thyroids, with Hashimoto's, with goiter, with whatever. It does amazing things because the main thing behind it, it's a detox. It's proven. It's helping the body remove herbicides and pesticides and Scotchgard and Teflon and the chemicals that are in our world that you're storing inside your fat cells, which you are. That's why you all complain about look at how much fat she had in her body when she started. Now look at her. With no exercise, and they measured, she lost no water weight and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass with no exercise. And they're not against exercise, but they wanted to isolate exercise in this case. Otherwise, you say, well, she lost weight because it was diet and exercise. No, it wasn't. Had nothing to do with that. So, Helena, different people. No, it's the same person. Just like, look at this one. You think that's a different person? 21 pounds in a month. Or Julie, look at Julie. 35 pounds in 37 days. Look at that. It's the same person. And this guy, how about 40 pounds and 52 inches in 30 days? Helena, what do you think about that? Huh? Seriously, what do you think about that? 40 pounds in a month. He's 65 years old. But Helena, that's not the best part of his story. Look at his A1C from 8.4 to 6.4, triglycerides 242 to 124 in a month. In a month. And he's kept it off for 8 or 9 years. So please comment on that. What do you think, Helena? Is that just crazy? Hello, Mindy. Hello, Renata. Elle, you're still there. I see you. Hill, you're still there. Crypto Chimp, I see you're still there. Who would like to? Well, it's inevitable. I know everybody's going to say, okay, how did they do it? Okay, I'm going to explain it to you right now. Now, the reason that I use her is because she only had 30 pounds to lose, and she ended up losing 21 pounds and 38 inches in 1 month with no exercise gain. Look, and the thing is, rather than you think I'm making it up, it's published. Go prove me wrong. Go to the New Health Conversation. You'll see the medical studies. They're there for you to view. Nothing I'm showing you is not backed up by these peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. Nothing. So it's not a matter of let's have an argument. Let's have a discussion. There's no it's already been vetted by the top medical researchers in the world. This is the only weight loss program in the world that's ever been put to this. Well, no one else has 10 peer-reviewed, published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. It doesn't exist. So how did they do it? I'm sure everybody wants to know, or some of you want to know, okay? So effectively, this was invented after 40 years of research, 100 studies by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. Not me. I didn't invent it, but we're bringing it to you. So what they said was, after 40 years, every diet they ever studied was based on, well, all diets are based on some form of counting calories. The problem with that is your body has no idea what a calorie is. When you count calories, your brain If you ask your brain what's a calorie, it has no idea. You're only alive because of three things: air, water, and not calories, nutrition. And it's the nutrition that allows your body for you to be alive, because it's nutrition that fuels all your organs, your brain, your kidney, your liver, your heart. And the survival mechanism in the brain says when there's not enough nutrition, it will go into starvation mode, panic, and immediately stop accessing the fuel inside your fat cell. Don't let anybody tell you you're burning fat on a diet or exercise. It's just a lie. You're born with a certain number of fat cells, you die with a certain number of fat cells, and those fat cells can expand or contract over your lifetime. And that's why so many of you complain about how much fat you're carrying in your body. It's not just the weight that bothers you, right? I'm sure. Do you know most women on this is a whole dress size, Helena, in 7 days with no exercise? They actually wore Fitbits to prove they didn't exercise. And not that the researchers were against exercise, but they had to eliminate it. Otherwise, you say, well, they lost weight because it was diet and exercise. No, it wasn't. And she lost no water weight and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. It's published in the studies. It's not something, I don't have to make up anything. That's what's so great about what we get to do. We bring you real medical proof. We don't give you hyperbole. I see these, they're nice people, but I mean, they got 1 million followers and they're telling you about fast 16 hours a day, eat 8, and it's a chef telling you that? A chef? Really? I'm not the expert, but I became an expert on the experts. And look, you got to understand, when you're talking about peer-reviewed human trial medical studies, it's what's called irrefutable medical proof. End of the story. No more discussion. So if you're going to argue with me, you're arguing with medical science. And you can do that if you want, but not on my podcast. So if you're going to come on and challenge me on something, make sure you have peer-reviewed human trial studies. Don't tell me about these people that, well, they conducted peer-reviewed human trial studies. And then when they go look at the study, it was done by the company that they're promoting. Now, that doesn't count, okay? So the researchers said the key would be this. The only thing that matters to your body is how much nutrition you have in order to ensure you have enough fuel to run on your organs. When you go on a diet and you lower the amount of food, you're lowering the amount of nutrition, it triggers the starvation mode in the brain. So the researchers said, wait a minute, we're going to create something new. No counting calories. No calorie counting on this. They put together foods that represented high levels of nutrition. That was their first goal. And they give you a grocery list that you would actually get a grocery list you'd take to your grocery store. Free, by the way, the list is. You got to buy groceries, of course. Proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. So whatever you spent last month on groceries, you're only going to spend 30% on this protocol. You go to the grocery store. Are you smarter than the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world? With all due respect, dietitians, nutritionists, they're not what are called physiologists. Maybe some of them are, but it's very rare. A physiologist studies the nutrients once they enter the body. What benefit are they having inside the body? Okay, so understand that was part of this. So 30% of what she consumed came from her grocery store. Now, here's what separates it from everything else. You're going to tell me, oh, I eat clean, I eat whole foods, I go to, yeah, but 200 studies prove that organic is slightly better than regular food. It's less polluted, and that's the reason to eat it. So the researchers said, and they did studies on organic in 40 years. It never worked because the food in North America, food around the world is becoming more and more nutritionally insufficient. I'm being kind. So they found these other researchers that had gone around the world for 20 years to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but small quantities of food. So now they had what she would eat, what I ate, what you would eat if you do this. 5 days a week. She had 4 meals a day. She started with what the researchers have called these exotic foods from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, the world's most perfect meals from a nutritional standpoint, right? There's no supplements here. There's no products. You're not buying anything from us, okay? Get that out of your head. You're buying 30% of your groceries from the grocery store, and the other, let's call them your groceries, you're buying from these other researchers directly from them. We don't sell you anything. We have no products to sell you. Then what they did, they said 5 days a week, we're going to eat 4 meals a day, starting with the world's most perfect meal for breakfast, lunch from the grocery store list that you would have, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner, the world's most perfect meal. 2 days a week, no food from the grocery store. No, don't panic. Only the world's most perfect meal, but this time you're going to eat 8 times a day. That's what she did. She was eating every hour and a half for 2 hours. The diabetics on this, no one had insulin spikes. There were people who weighed 500 pounds. They weren't hungry. If I teach you anything else, your hunger is not ever created from lack of calories. Absolutely not. Your body has no idea what a calorie is. The only way you can be hungry is through lack of nutrition. the researchers proved this was, do you know that most women on this lost a whole dress size in the first 7 days? Not a month, with no exercise. 7 days. But this is the most comprehensive medical research ever done on diet, nutrition, and health. And what did they do? What did they look at? They did blood, stool, urine, fat analysis. They did liver analysis. They did body composition. They measured inflammation. I mean, a whole host of things. But the number one thing they found through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, this protocol called R2M, race to maintenance, was helping the body remove chemicals from the body. They had the medical proof to see it. That's the number one reason to do it. It's a detox. Okay, number two, for the first time ever, inflammation, which is the underlying cause of every disease out there, according to the medical world, it came down 25% in a month. How many of you complain about inflammation? Lots of people do, right? Third, hunger came down 40%. The need for insulin among the diabetics, it came down 41% in a month. No one's ever seen results like this. I'll show you a diabetic and his results here in just a moment. This is not a diet. But here's the biggest reason to do it. Maintenance. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks, 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. Here's Janet. She lost 100 pounds and she's kept it off for 12 years. And then Sheila and Michael, a husband and wife, in 5 months, they each lost 60 pounds plus each. She lost, I think, 62. He lost 65, and they've kept it off for 2.5 years. And then this group, let me show you this, everybody. This is really cool. This is the Women's World. It's the #1 women's magazine in the world. The cover story of these two women. The daughter is a nurse, 57 years old. She lost 50 pounds in 3 months. The mom, who turns 81 in October, lost 104 pounds in a little over a year, and they both kept it off for 3 years. I coached both of them. You can see the headline, Over 50 Protein Miracle. And then look what the magazine said. Powerful new eating pattern can take weight off faster than anything else you've tried. You can't advertise to be on this cover. The magazine actually wrote a news story because it's such big news about this. I'll show you the article here. Two full-page article, New Protein Miracle Diet. Do you think that they would put you on the cover of Women's World if you didn't have the medical proof to back it up, which they do? I've got them. I'm holding them right here in my hand. 10 peer-reviewed human medical studies that if you go to that website, the New Health Conversation, that's the only thing on there is the medical proof. We will not, if you go to that website, we're not going to contact you. But you get free coaching. Guess how much the coaching is, everybody? Free. How much is to go to the website? Free. You don't buy anything from us. You're buying 30% of your food from the grocery store and 70% from these other researchers who'd gone around the world for 20 years to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand to bring these foods with huge amounts of nutrition and then this new way of eating. That's how she lost 21 pounds in a month. But look at, Julie, 35 pounds in 37 days. April, 60 pounds in 3 months. 60. And then this is the diabetic, everybody. Look at this. He's 65 years old, lost 40 pounds in a month, 52 inches. His A1C went from 8.4 to 6.4, triglycerides 242 to 124 in 30 days. 30 days? Are you kidding me? Look at that. Now, you can think it's fake. If you think it's fake, you're on the wrong podcast. I'm serious. Don't waste your time listening to me. The only thing we ever present to you is medical proof. We don't need to hype anything. And you all can go for free to the website. Visit the New Health Conversation. I'm going to show it to you all now. If you went to Google and you typed in the New Health Conversation, you see it right there, right? It'll take you to the link in Google. There it is. Click on the New Health Conversation. There's the website. There's nothing to buy on that website. Nothing. Only the medical proof, including #1, is an exclusive podcast with the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world. He and his team invented this. They don't sell you anything. They don't have any products. They don't have a company. There's no magic pill or elixir or drink. No, it doesn't work like that. They've spent 40 years, 100 studies, thousands of people proving what? No diet ever worked long term. But it's not just them saying that. It's people like, how about Medicare, everybody? Here's a big study they just published. Medicare's search for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. Our researchers at Medicare reviewed studies of long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether dieting is an effective treatment for obesity. The studies showed that 2/3 of dieters regained more weight than they lost on any diet. That's Medicare telling you 2/3 of you right now are going to gain more weight than you lost if you stick with traditional diets. You can see all the medical proof right there for free. And if you like what you see, you can scroll down, see right in black above our head, free coaching. How much is the coaching? It's free. You're buying nothing from the coaches. You're buying 30% of the food from your grocery store and 70% from these world's most perfect meals, nutrients from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. Now, if that's not good enough for you, I don't know what to tell you. Because you're all going to probably go back to whatever you're doing. Maybe you think this is fake. You don't believe it. If you don't, then you're on the wrong podcast. I'm serious. Don't waste your time. If you think that's not real and you think we photoshopped it or we photo hacked it or it's AI, you're on the wrong podcast. You really are. Because what we're showing you, what we're supplying to you is the medical proof. And the analysis on this is the most extensive medical analysis ever done on a diet, nutrition, or health program. They did blood, stool, urine, fat analysis. They did liver enzymes. They did body composition. They did blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides. They measured inflammation. They measured hunger. And no one was allowed to exercise in these studies because they didn't want exercise to be an outlier. Otherwise, you'd say, well, it was about diet and exercise. No, it wasn't. No one was allowed to exercise. So who else would like to ask me a question about how they did this? And we've been stuck now at 2,000 likes for the last, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes. Can we get some taps on that screen and get the likes moving well beyond 2,000? I think my record is 20,000, so we got a ways to go. Maybe I sucked this morning or afternoon or wherever you're listening to this around the world. This is live. It's not, it's a podcast. It's not a infomercial. But the thing that you all need to realize is that all the medical proof now is saying that counting calories is well, according to the researchers, they're saying the deadly delusion of calorie counting. Abandon calories in, calories out now. These are the top researchers. It's not us saying that. Calories in, calories out is a dangerous fraud. The body completely ignores calories, which are merely a lab-invented unit of energy with no corresponding biological sensor or mechanism. Instead, the body craves air, water, and nutrition to function. Where hunger acts as a signal for nutrient deficiencies rather than calorie deficiencies, rendering calorie tracking not just ineffective, but a harmful distraction that perpetuates obesity cycles and dieting failures. Essentially, what they're saying is what everybody knows, that there's not a diet, 2/3 of you are going to gain more weight than you lost on any diet you're on now. We can save you from that. And we don't sell you anything. You're buying food and a new way of eating. I know it sounds good to be true. How else do you want me to present it to you? Do you want me to tell you that she lost 5 pounds in a month? She lost 21 pounds and 38 inches in 30 days with no exercise, lost no water weight, and gained 6 to 9%. Look at her stomach on day 1. Look at her stomach on day 30. I mean, it's so hard to believe that you're all so, I shouldn't say all, but the majority of people that come on here are brainwashed and think that their diet, paleo, keto, Mediterranean, carnivore, count your carbs, count your macros, that they work long term. There's just no evidence of that. And when you look at the analysis done, not by me, but by these top researchers, this is a 12-month sort of combination of diets. Here's what they said, and then I'll give you the actual numbers. These are the numbers from the medical studies. They're not my numbers, right? Traditional diets, this is the researchers, not me saying this. Traditional diets, be they low fat, low carb, keto, carnivore, macro counting obsessions, or the latest fad, this time restricted eating where you fast for 16 hours, you eat for 8, seduce millions with vows of dramatic weight loss and radiant health. But the brutal truth etched in decades of unyielding scientific evidence shatters this illusion. These diets deliver fleeting illusions of progress, followed by inevitable weight regain, negligible long-term medical benefits, and the hidden toll on your body of losing critically important 25 to 40% of your lean muscle mass, which slows down your metabolism, and your own immune system. So they did a 12-month study, and they got the research. These are the researchers now, not me. And this was a summary, and they looked at low-fat diets, low-carb diets, keto diets, carnivore diets, macro counting, and time-restricted eating. What they found over a 12-month period of time, I'll make it simple. The most amount of weight loss anybody lost on any diet was 16 pounds. And of the 16 pounds, when they measured it, 25 to 40% of the muscle, didn't matter whether it was low fat, low carb, keto, carnivore, macro, time restricted eating, 25 to 40% of the 16 pounds they were losing was lean muscle mass. I mean, do you understand how deadly it is, or how, I wouldn't say deadly, but dangerous it is for you to be losing your lean muscle? And then you wonder why you have all that loose skin. You want, look at her, no, 200 pounds in a year. I think it was like 13 months to be clear, but she's kept it off. Where's the loose skin? Where's the surgery? See, the fat cells expand. And if they contract and you don't have any muscle corresponding, then you're going to end up with all the loose skin. Well, you can see it here in Julie. Look at what she did, 35 pounds in 37 days. It's just amazing how people drop off. They don't even know how they did it. They want to count. I guess they want to be part of the insane obsession with counting calories. I'd love for anybody to put in the chat, does anybody even know what a calorie is? Does anybody know the medical definition of a calorie? I'd love for you to put it in the chat. So Starlight, Marianne, Seeley, Caborta, Jamie, Andrea Simpson. I mean, where we started was this. The biggest threat to your health is obesity. It is. It just Harvard Medical School said over 40 or 50 known diseases, the underlying cause is obesity. But I'm in absolute agreement with all of you. Diets, if you're, let's say, 50, 60 pounds overweight, are you really, do you know what the average weight loss is on diets if you do the math? It's about 6 ounces a week. 6 ounces a week. Now, you may, in the beginning, get excited, you've lost 2, 3, 4, 5 pounds, but then it all comes back. It's just crazy what's going on. And yet, what do? Well, I can tell just by the audiences that come on here, they think they know. So the diet they're on now, maybe they've had some success, or they think, oh, I'm going to get the shot, or I'm going to do whatever. We're not against the shots. But compare the shot, New England Journal of Medicine, big study on semaglutide, 68 weeks. The weight loss after 68 weeks was 32 pounds, and 40% of the weight they lost was lean muscle mass. It's right in the study. You can go read it. New England Journal of Medicine, once weekly semaglutide. She lost 21 pounds in a month, lost some water, and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. Which one? And this has no side effects. So, Haja, oh, I can't pronounce your name. I probably Hajfra Faisa, I believe it is. I think I sort of got that right. I apologize if I got your name wrong. I'm not doing that. So who else would like to ask me a question? This is an open forum. It's a podcast. It's not an infomercial. It's absolutely live. Aren't any of you curious about, unless this is fake, 21 pounds and 38 inches in a month? And the reason I show you that, that's kind of the least, this is about the average. In other words, the least amount of weight loss people are losing is at least 5 pounds a week. It's very rare if they don't lose at least 5 pounds a week. So come on, everybody. Who would like to ask me another question? Anybody? But I know that you're all following something. Can anybody put in the chat, just to liven up the conversation here a little bit, whatever diet maybe you're on and how much weight you've lost in what period of time? And then I'll give you the sad truth that 2/3 are going to end up weighing more than you lost. We got another huge study, the science behind why diets don't work. It's not our study. We're reading from other researchers, and they said our researchers found that despite all the ads that say otherwise, it's very rare for people to lose weight and keep it off for good. Not only that, 2/3 of people who try any diet regain more weight than they originally lost, ending up at a higher weight than where they started. In a review of more than 30 long-term studies showing that going on any diet actually causes weight gain. The more diets someone has tried, the more they weigh. So not only does dieting not work for long-term weight loss, but it's also associated with binge eating, eating disorders, and long-term weight gain. Does that sound like what you're doing is going to work? Do you think you're some anomaly? You're not. You're wasting your time. You'll see. You'll lose weight. You'll gain it all back and you'll say, wow, that crazy scientist was right. I'm on Mounjaro and I still, yeah, exactly, new mill. I'm on Mounjaro and I'm still not losing weight. Okay, so did you hear when I read the study, new Millie? Let me read to you from the medical proof just to show you what's going on. So well, first of all, let me back up and explain to you why the shots can't possibly work. Well, let me jump ahead. Sorry. The New England Journal of Medicine once-weekly semaglutide study, New Millie, 68 weeks. 68 weeks. That's a year and 4 months. The weight loss after 32 weeks was only 68 weeks was 32 pounds, and 40% of what they lost was lean muscle. See, you probably know this, what the Mounjaro, Ozempic, GLP-1s, what they do, they slow down the amount of food moving through your digestive tract. You eat less food, you're full longer, but here's what's happening to you. Your brain says, wait a minute, we don't have enough nutrition here to run all the organs. So what does it do for you to survive? It turns your muscles into fuel. What's happened to you is you've slowed down your metabolism. I don't give a damn how much shot you take now. The chance of you losing any more weight, nearly zero. And the sad part is, because I'm working with people coming off the shots, they're gaining as much as a half a pound a day, no different than when people come off diets. All Mounjaro is a low-calorie diet. We're not against the shots, because if they're diabetic, they got to have some kind of meds, or if they're morbidly obese. But in your case, can you imagine? Well, it's part of, yeah, it is the food, no nutrients, and that's part of it. But it's also the way we've been eating and the way we space out food and the way people skip lunch and skip breakfast and do all these crazy things but you're onto something there. But let me come back to New Millie for just a moment. You have to understand, look at this gentleman here, New Millie. He's 65 years old, 40 pounds and 52 inches in 30 days with no exercise. New Millie on this, I'd anticipate. If you don't mind, New Millie, just so I can give you some realistic numbers, how tall are you and how much do you weigh? And then I'll tell you what you really can expect on this. I'll give you the minimum. I won't give you the maximum because it'll shock you and you'll think that I'm probably full of it, which I'm not. I've been a nutritional researcher for 23 years. And Genetastic 53. Okay, and what do you think you should weigh? Thanks for that, by the way. That really does help me because you're pretty tall. 5'8" is pretty tall, but 250 is obviously something that's, it doesn't give you the life probably that you want. No. You're not going to like what I'm going to tell you. Maximum, you want to be about 140. That would mean we would want you to lose 140 would be what, 110 pounds approximately? Yeah. So I will tell you this, New Mill, how much excitement would you have in 4 days? 4 days, you'll probably lose 8 or 10 pounds. To lose 110 pounds, New Mill, let me do the math for you. Easily by Christmas, you'll be down over 100 pounds. Easily, that's with no exercise. Now, the other thing about this, New Mill, you have to understand in the first 30 days, because 30% of your food is going to come from the grocery store. You get a grocery list, proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. The other 70% comes, you can't buy it at your grocery store. These foods come from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. And so 30% of what you're going to spend would be at your grocery store, right? Because even on on Mounjaro, you still have to buy food. It's the cost of the drug, and you're buying food. This, you're only buying food. There's no shots, there's no drugs, there's no pills. You're buying food. 30% from your grocery and 70% from these exotic foods from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. So the 70% of what you would spend on the food from these exotic locations, New Millie, they give you 100% of your money back in the first 30 days. We don't have anything to do with that because we don't sell you anything. So is New Millie, are they going to give you a refund on Mounjaro and the food you bought that didn't work and why you're stuck? But how can I do it? New Millie, I'm going to tell you. Am I sure? 200 pounds in a year. Am I sure? Am I sure? Yeah. This one right here, Janet. 100 pounds in a year. She's kept it off for 12 years. Am I sure? Nothing's 100%. I wouldn't be that dumb to say that. But you got to understand that you're going to know in the first 30 days if it works. You'll know after 4 days if it works. And if it doesn't work, 70% of what you spent, you get all your money back. You're buying a month's worth of food. You have to eat anyway. On Mounjaro, you're paying for the shot and you got to buy food. No. This is only food and a new way of eating that I'm going to explain to everybody right now. Look at this. Look at Julie. 35 pounds in 37 days. And but look at this gentleman here. 65 years old, 40 pounds, 52 inches in 30 days. New Millie, does that excite you? Even the prospect of that? I'm not going to promise you 40 pounds. Doesn't mean it won't happen to you. I'd rather underpromise. You might lose 100 pounds in 3 months. We've seen it lots of times. But I'd rather underpromise. So what did they do? How did they do it? Okay, here we go. The researchers who invented this had done 100 studies over 40 years, New Millie. 100. Thousands of people on every diet out there. And what they concluded was, see, all Mounjaro are doing is forcing you to have less food, which means you're getting less nutrition. It's that simple. Well, your brain's going, wait a minute, not enough nutrition? Because you're alive because not of calories. You're alive because of water, air, and what? Nutrition. So when you lower the amount of food you're consuming with Mounjaro or Ozempic or whatever, you're getting less nutrition. Your brain thinks you're starving to death. It stops accessing the fuel in your fat cell and turns to your muscles. You're losing lean muscle mass, up to 40% of it. It's right here in this New England Journal of Medicine study. 68 weeks, 32 pounds, and 40% of what they lost was lean muscle. I'm not making anything up. They're gaining. She gained 6 to 9% lean muscle and wasn't even allowed to exercise. Okay, so first they put together a food list, no calorie counting, none, zero, only serving sizes. The principle here was pretty simple. Maximum amounts of nutrition in the foods they picked. The researchers picked the foods for us. They put a grocery list together, but only 30%, New Millie, would you buy at your grocery store? But you got a list. Proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. But instead of calorie sizes, they give you serving sizes. Does that make sense, New Millie? That's 30%. Whatever you spent last month, only 30% this month. The other 70% of what you're going to spend doesn't come from your grocery store. You can't buy it in a grocery store. You can't get it at the farmer's market. These other researchers have spent 20 years going to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but smaller amounts of food, including some of the nutrients from these blue zones where people live to be 100 years old. I want to put that in my body. What about you? Okay, so now they had the food. And here was the key. They created a new way of eating. Wait till you hear this. And they got a registered trademark, New Millie, from the U.S. Patent Office, this new way of eating called protein pacing. You can Google it. You can look it up. It's real. And what they did 5 days out of 7 until she lost the weight or you lost the weight or I lost. New Millie, I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. Am I sure? I'm pretty sure, okay? So what they did, they let her have five days a week. She had 4 meals a day, New Millie. Yes, 4 meals a day. You'd start with the world's most perfect meal for breakfast from these Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, lunch from the grocery store, dinner from the grocery store, and a 4th meal after dinner from these the world's most perfect meal. That's called protein pacing, part of protein pacing. 5, what about the other 2 days? The other 2 days, no food from your grocery store, 0. Only these world's most perfect meals, but this time, Millie, you're going to eat 8 times a day. You're going to eat every hour and a half for 2 hours. The diabetics in this, no one was overweight. So what happened is that they were able to prove through, this was the most, by the way, the diabetics in this, no one had insulin spikes. And you saw this gentleman here who's a diabetic. Look at his A1C. Went from 8.4 to 6.4 and triglycerides 242 to 124 in a month. You think any diets ever produced anything like this or even a drug? No way. So what the researchers did, the most comprehensive medical examination of a diet, weight loss, or health program in the world. So New Millie, they did blood, stool, urine, fat analysis. They did body composition. They did enzymes. They did blood sugar, blood pressure, cholesterol, triglycerides. Here were some of the results. The number one result was New Millie. This was a detox. They proved through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, this was removing chemicals from the body. That's why she shrank. Look at her stomach on day 1. Look at her stomach on day 30. That's with and she lost no water weight. And not only didn't she lose lean muscle, none of these people, she gained 6 to 9% lean muscle with no exercise. They're not against exercise. But in this case, they wanted to eliminate it. Otherwise, you'd say, oh, well, she lost weight because it was diet and exercise. No, they had to eliminate exercise. Otherwise, they would have never known how would this work. Remember, this was a theory when they started these studies about 13 years ago. That's how long it took to finally get them published, about 13 years. This is changing your life. The main reason to do it is not to lose weight. Number one reason, to lower the chemicals stored inside our fat cells. See, this is what's happening, New Millie, in all of us. We're drinking, we're breathing, we're eating chemicals, and as they enter the body takes the chemical and it stuffs it inside your visceral fat. That's why people complain not just about how much weight they have, but how much fat they have in their body. There's a new medical syndrome called TDOS. It's a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office. You all have probably heard of metabolic syndrome or syndrome X. Well, this is a new syndrome based on what? The T is for the toxins stored in our fat cells. The D is for the lack of nutrition in our food, causing us to be overweight and stress. And it's a registered, Peter Greenlaw, who said, oh, that's me. I did discover it. See, I'm not just some guy. I've been a nutritional researcher for 23 years, 4 best-selling books, 20 shows on PBS, 1,500 live lectures around the world at universities and hospitals. I was a keynote at Autism One in Chicago, the largest autism conference in the world, 2 years in a row. So I have some credibility. But I'm not telling you to brag. I'm just letting you know I'm not just some person, okay? So then what the researchers found was that hunger went down 40% in a month. Most women on this lost a dress size in a week. Most men, 2 to 4 inches off their waist in a week. And in 14 days, I went from a 42-inch waist to a 34-inch waist. I'm a 34-inch waist 23 years later, and I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks, and I've kept it off for 23 years. The other huge thing on this, inflammation, came down 25% in a month. This has never been seen in history. Every one of you, including you, New Millie, and me, suffer from inflammation. So imagine being able to lower it 25% in a month. The reason to do this is not to lose the weight. That's like a given. That's a throw in. Like I said, do I think it's highly likely you can get 100 pounds or more off by Christmas? Absolutely. I'd say the first month I'd be shocked if you don't lose at least 25 or 30 pounds. That's assuming you don't exercise. The coaches will encourage you. If you want to exercise, they'll show you what kind of exercise, what's the duration, what's the time. The other thing, New Millie, the coaching, 100% free. There's no gimmicks. We all got coached. And we have all these people that are volunteering now that, maybe their brother did it, their sister, someone at church, someone at work. They said, well, how did you do it? So fortunately, we have a lot of people that are helping to coach us. The other thing to make it even more consistent is the researchers created, and you'd get this too, it's called the Blueprint for Success, which is what they gave to the patients in the medical studies. And all the yellows are daily videos that you get for free from the researchers explaining to you, this is how it works, why it works, this is why it's safe. Again, let me emphasize, the people who invented this have no products. They don't sell anything. They don't have a company. We don't sell you anything. You're basically buying food that the researchers pick the foods for you and this new way of eating. Now, the other important part about this is maintenance, New Willie. How simple is maintenance? Like this morning, I had the world's most perfect meal for breakfast. I'm going to watch football today, so I'm going to one of my sports bars here in about 3 hours to watch football. And then I'll have another meal tonight, and then every maybe 8 weeks, I'll do another of the 48-hour where I'm eating 8 times a day, no food from the grocery store. And that's pretty much it, everybody. Does that make sense? New Willie, does that make sense to you? Yes, Jenna, the weight loss is the side effect. You're very astute in seeing that. Jenna Stasic 53, I am excited. I'm excited for you. And New Millie, I'm excited for you as well. And again, New Willie and Jantastic, keep in mind, if you let me show you the website again, everybody, so you don't think I'm making things up. So New Willie, or type in the New Health Conversation into Google, and you'll see it'll bring you to the link. It's right at the top, the New Health Conversation. It's the new, by the way. There's the medical website. There's nothing on there to buy. Only thing there is the medical proof, including number one, is an exclusive podcast with the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world. He and his team put this together. They have no products to sell. Number 3, you get to see the actual medical studies. You click on that link, it takes you there. We're completely transparent, and it's free to go to the website, and there's no tricks. Then if you like what you see, scroll down, because we won't contact you. Why would we contact you? If the medical proof doesn't, we're not saying it has to convince you, but if you're not interested in getting a coach, then don't waste your time. No one's going to do this without a coach, because you may think you understand how to do it. No. We all got coached. It'd be unfair for you, because you are spending your own money on food from the grocery store and nothing. You're not buying anything from us, but you're buying the other foods, even though it'll say right there, 100% money back guaranteed. Let me clarify that. The 30% of the food you would purchase, 30% of what you spent last month at your grocery store, obviously they're not going to give you a refund if it doesn't work. But these other researchers, 70% of what you're spending, 100% money back guarantee in the first month. So New Willie or Jantastic 53, who's doing that for you? Again, New Millie, is Ozempic giving you a refund on Ozempic and giving you a refund on the food, because obviously on the shot, you still have to buy food. This is only food. There's no shots. There's no extra, nothing. I'm only laughing because you all have an amazing opportunity to change your lives. You literally can type in the New Health Conversation. Go take a look. We aren't going to contact you. Hello? Why is that not a good deal for you? Right? So who else? New Millie or Gentastic or Crypto Chimp? You're still there. That is fantastic. But we're all still stuck. We're stuck at 2,000 likes. Am I not giving you valuable information? Free medical proof? Not medical advice, medical proof. That's a whole different ballgame. You have to make your own decision. We're not there to convince you. We don't have enough time to convince you or sell you. Tap on the screen on your cell phone, or on your smartphone, and it will get some more hearts for me, or not. Who else would like to ask me a question? New Millie. Okay, so how do I get started? You go to the website, New Millie, the New Health Conversation. Well, I think I just did that. Go look at the medical proof, then scroll down, you get a free coach. Is that clear now? I'm sorry, I didn't see your question before. I am excited, encourage the weight loss side effect. How do I get started? New Millie, again, do you see right above her head, visit the New Health Conversation? Give me a yes if you see that. And that then allows you to see the medical proof first, and then scroll down, then you get a free coach, and they'll show you the food list, they'll show you how to order direct, and then New Millie, you gotta understand, they're gonna coach you they're gonna call you, text you, email you, they're there to support you. It's not some pig in a poke. No, they're dedicated to what they're doing, because someone took the time to coach them. Keep that in mind, okay? So, New Millie, does that make sense to you? Do you understand how to get started? Please give me a yes, just so I know. Because sometimes people have trouble understanding. Visit the New Health Conversation. That's the medical website that leads you then to the free coaching once you've seen the medical proof. There's no requirement. I mean, we're not going to contact you. What? Because we shouldn't have to contact you if you look at the medical proof. I think I would say 99% of the people decide they want to do this because the medical proof is unrelenting. I mean, it's real. It's irrefutable medical proof. Yes, New Millie. Make sure, no, the New Health Conversation won't work. Let me see if I can put it in the chat. Tell me if you all can read this conversation. Sometimes it shows up and sometimes it doesn't. Let me see if that'll work this time. You see it there right under your name, the New Health Conversation, New Millie. Give me a yes. I want to make sure. I don't know if you can read it or not. It's weird. When I try to add comments, they don't necessarily. Okay, good. So that's it. The New Health Conversation. You got it? And New Millie, make sure when you go, once you decide if you want to coach, there's a little box. Put in like your weight loss goals, but are you on any medication, for example? Because that may determine, like we have people that are specialists like with diabetics. I'm not saying you're a diabetic, but we want to make sure we get the right coach for the right person for what they're wanting to accomplish. We have athletes. Like I said, we have a kid as young as 2 doing this. We have a lady 91 years old. We have people with no thyroids. We have people with a heart transplant, kidney transplant, people with no gallbladders. And we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or making any medical proclamations whatsoever. But let me ask you something, New Millie. If by Christmas you walk into, let's say, Christmas party, and you're down 100 pounds, could there be a better Christmas gift you could give yourself than that? But understand, you're going to be motivated. I'm telling you, the minimum you're going to lose in the first 30 days is 25 or 30 pounds, probably a pound a day. So if that's not your motivation, I don't know what would be. And remember, that first 30 days is 100% money back guarantee on 70% of what you're going to spend. Isn't that cool? So can all of you see that there, the New Health Conversation in the bottom of the chat? It's also above her head. So who else would like to take not a stab, what was I going to say? Oh, would anybody else of the people that have just come on, would you like to know how she did this? 21 pounds, 38 inches in 30 days, no exercise allowed, wore a Fitbit to prove she wasn't exercising. This is not a diet, and it's the most medically scrutinized weight loss, nutrition, health, because this is a health system. That's what it is. It's number one thing this does, it's a detox. And that's not just lip service like this nonsense you're seeing on TV about, oh, this is a detox. They don't have any medical proof behind it. This is published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world, proving it's real, proving it's safe. And effectively, when you get published in these huge medical journals, it's what's called irrefutable medical proof. So the main reason to do this is not to lose the weight. That's like a given. The main reason to do this is to assist your own body in detoxification. And they've got the medical proof through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis to prove it. Okay, fantastic. Well, you can see, I mean, Julie did better than that. Look at that. She lost what, 30, not almost a pound a day. Do you see that, Jantastic 53? Look at her body. Look at the composition of her body, how it changed. Look at that. In 37 days? Really? Look at that. October 3rd to November 9th. I mean, is that hard to believe? Many of you may think it's just fake. It's not fake. It's real. It absolutely happened. Yes, amazing. I agree. So you're pretty excited about going and learning more, Jantastic, and also you, New Millie, I hope, and any of the rest of you. Right above your head, visit the New Health Conversation. It's free to go there. There's nothing to buy on that website. Nothing. So who else would like to ask a question before I close this one out? Only because I need to rest my voice. But I'll stay longer if other people have questions for her. Yes, and she's chiseled, exactly. Yep. But even, I know you can't see quite, but look at this, including New Millie. I mean, look at his stomach. I should have pointed that out on day 1. Look at his stomach on day 30. I mean, that's a 65-year-old man with, by the way, no exercise. Do you all get that? That's with no exercise. Well, Jantastic, no one was allowed to exercise. He and everybody else wore Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising, because obviously all these people were motivated to lose weight, and they've been drilled in their head, diet and exercise, diet and exercise. The researchers eliminated exercise, not because they're against exercise. No. But if they would have had him exercise, and you say, well, he lost weight, what kind of exercise did he do? None. Zero. Can you exercise in this? Absolutely. But the coaches go over all that with you, because it's a question of, you're probably going to work out less than you are now and have a better result. That's what's so cool about this. So who else would like to ask me a question? I see we have new people coming in here all the time. And the reason I like to show all of you this, she only had 30 pounds, I shouldn't say only, she had 30 pounds to lose. She lost 21 pounds and 38 inches in a month. If you do the math, that's 70% of her weight loss goal she lost in 30 days. I mean, can anybody be honest with me to put in the chat if you wanted to lose just 20 pounds? You could check any diet, any workout program, any gym. How long would you give yourself to lose 20 pounds? I'd love for someone to put it in the chat. Audience participants. This is a live podcast, everybody. This is live. I'm a nutritional researcher for 23 years. I've written 4 best-selling books, some of the top medical doctors in the world, 20 shows on public broadcasting, and 1,500 live lectures in universities and hospitals around the world. I've been to China. I've been to the United States and Canada and Mexico lecturing about this before COVID. Let me be clear. Thank goodness. I want to thank TikTok. It's the greatest forum I've ever seen. This podcast goes all over the world. Doesn't matter how many people are on it. It matters that you're on it. Are you serious about losing weight and keeping it off for the rest of your life? Are any of you 40 pounds? Jantastic, easily by end of October. Easily 40 pounds down. Easily. How much would that excite you, Jantastic? I'll bet it would a lot. So who else are the new people coming on here? I see them. Hello, everybody, coming on and then jumping off. But of the people that are here, who would like me to explain how this is possible? Please put it in the chat. And if 5 pounds a week doesn't excite you, how about 10 pounds a week? He lost 40 pounds, 52 inches in 30 days. He's 65 years old. But look at his lab work. See, the main reason to do this is not to lose weight. That's like, for us, that's like that. Yeah, we know that's going to happen. It's the medical improvements. And they did in the medical studies, or in the way they did the studies, they were the most advanced medical analysis ever done on a diet, weight loss, or health. This is a health system. The weight loss is just, that happens to be one of the great side benefits. It's not the main reason to do it. The main reason to do it is to detoxify your body. And they did extensive research on, they did blood, stool, urine, fat analysis. They did liver enzymes. They did body composition. They did blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides. And for the first time ever, they proved this lowered inflammation by 25% in 30 days. Every one of you suffers from inflammation. Just join live as your program with intermittent fasting with no exercise, no calories in and out. It's not intermittent fasting that's a complete bust. I'll explain that to you in just a moment, Nathan. Let's look at the medical proof about this. When you're talking about intermittent fasting, clarify for me, Nathan, so I don't give you bad information. You're talking about not eating for 16 hours, eating for a 16-hour fast with an 8-hour eating window. Just clarify, give me a yes on that so I can explain it to you. And there was no exercise allowed, and they did not use calories as any measurement at all. So not that there were no calories in and out. It was that they didn't allow the people to count calories. But look at this gentleman right here, 40 pounds in a month. That's 30 days. It's not Photoshop, that's real. Yes, so you're talking 16.8. Okay, so let me read you just one of the studies on this time-restricted eating. This is the Journal of the American Medical Association, Nathan. This study just came out, and they said, our researchers at the Journal of the American Medical Association found that overweight adults who were assigned to routinely fast 16 hours daily over 3 months gained almost no benefit from it. Over the course of a 3-month study, they lost an average of 2 to 3.5 pounds, and the weight they lost was lean muscle mass. Complete lie when they're telling you that the main thing you're losing on time-restricted eating is fat, is a complete lie, because there's no diet, no exercise program that burns fat. We're born with a certain number of fat cells, we die with a certain number of fat cells, and they expand or contract over our lifetime. So if we go back and look just at her, because this is the minimum people lose on this, about 5 pounds a week. Now, who invented it? It was invented by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. Nathan, there are no products to buy here. You're not paying for a recipe. The coaching is 100% free. You're not paying $50 a month for a coach. I don't know which program you're looking at, but that's the one I've seen online. They want to charge you $500 for recipes for a year. Total nonsense. Not one shred of medical evidence. Now, I'm not trying to brag, but I've been a nutritional researcher for 23 years. I've written 4 best-selling books on the top medical doctors in the world, 20 shows on public broadcasting, 1,500 live lectures around the world in hospitals, universities, and towns. They even flew me to China. I was a keynote at Autism One in Chicago, the largest autism conference in the world, 2 years in a row. So I come with some pretty high academic background, but that doesn't mean anything. What changed everything was about 2 years ago when this protocol was published in 10 of the biggest medical studies in the world. And they proved it's safe and that it works. So let's talk about what they did just to clarify for you, Nathan. So the researchers who are voted, they're considered the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world for 40 years. They did 100 studies, thousands of people, and proved one thing. Whether it was time-restricted eating or keto or paleo or Mediterranean, no diet ever worked long-term, and 2/3 of everybody gained back more weight than they lost on any diet. Let me give you the year out on this time-restricted eating from the major researchers. They did a 12-month study, and it was part of an analysis of all diets by the top weight loss researchers in the world. The study, The Grand Myth of Traditional Diets, a Devastating Cycle of Failure and False Promises. Traditional diets, be they low-fat, low-carb, keto, carnivore, macro-counting obsessions, or the latest fad, this time-restricted eating, seduce millions with vows of dramatic weight loss and radiant health. But the brutal truth etched in decades of unyielding scientific evidence shatters this illusion. These diets deliver fleeting illusions of progress, followed by the inevitable regain of all the weight, negligible long-term medical benefits, and the hidden toll on your body of 25 to 40% loss of your lean muscle mass, causing you to slow down your metabolism and your immune system. So let's look at the evidence. They analyzed 12-month studies on low-fat diets, low-carb diets, keto diets, carnivore diets, macro counting, and time-restricted eating, which you're referencing, okay? The least amount of weight lost in a year was 11 pounds, and you take something like time-restricted eating, the weight loss in 12 months was 10 to 14 pounds, and on all these diets, whether it's macro, carnivore, etc., the 25 to 40% of every pound people were losing was lean muscle mass, just like the Journal of the American Medical JAMA in their study. But this is a 12-month study just to show you. Then the New England Journal of Medicine did a big study, 12 months again, where they took one group of people, just had them lower calories, and the other did time-restricted eating. In a year's time, again, the people doing time-restricted eating lost about 14 pounds in a year. Those doing calorie restriction lost 16 pounds. And both groups, right in the study, up to 40% of what they lost on time-restricted eating or on diets was lean muscle mass. So the researchers had all this background that said, we're going to create something with no calorie counting at all. Because, see, the only thing, Nathan, your body cares about, it has no idea what a calorie is. I don't know if you know what a calorie is, the medical definition, but I've over 1,000 podcasts I've done in the last year because I do like 4 a day, 7 days a week. You do the math. I've had 12 people ever give me the definition of a calorie, and yet we're all counting calories, okay? Every diet out there at the end of the day, even that time-restricted eating, it's some form, they think they're counting calories, they're not. So the researchers said the key to life would be this. You're alive because of 3 things, Nathan. Water, air, not calories, but nutrition. So what the research has proved is that when you go on a diet, whether it's time-restricted eating, you're consuming less food, which means you're consuming less nutrition. When you have less nutrition, the brain senses that and goes in starvation mode and prevents you from accessing the fuel inside your fat cell. Okay, you don't burn fat, but you access the fuel stored inside the fat cell. And your fat cells over your lifetime can expand or contract. You don't lose fat cells. You can look it up yourself, okay? So the researchers said our concentration would be on giving you less food, but finding foods with more nutrition, not a recipe. A recipe is not going to do you any good if you don't have the nutritional content, right? So what they did, they put a food list together that she got, I got, you'd get, where 30% of whatever you spent last month, you'd only buy 30% of your groceries from your grocery store, and you get a list of serving sizes, not calories, of proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. Only 30% of what you consume. Now, here's what made it unique and separate it from everything else. The other 70% of what you would spend dollar-wise, you can't buy at your grocery store. You buy from these other researchers who've gone around the world to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition. And some of the nutrients come from these blue zones where people live to be 100 years old. I don't know about you, but I want to put that stuff in my body. So now they had the foods. Then they invented a totally new way of eating. Unlike time-restricted eating, they got a registered trademark U.S. patent office on this program where 5 days a week she had 4 meals a day. She started breakfast with these, what the researchers have called the world's most perfect meals from a nutritional standpoint. Nathan, that's the only thing you should ever care about, not calories. It has nothing to do with calories. Lunch from the grocery store list with serving sizes, dinner from the grocery list, and a 4th meal after dinner, the world's most perfect meal. So 5 days a week until she lost the weight, 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, no food from the grocery store at all. Only these world's most perfect meals, but this time she ate 8 times a day. She was eating every hour and a half to 2 hours. Now the diabetics on this, no one had insulin spikes. Now let's keep going. Here's what blows us away compared to any of these other diets. This was the most comprehensive medical examination ever done on diet, on nutrition, weight loss, and health. See, this is a health system. So the first thing they did, what did they do? They did blood, stool, urine, fat analysis. They did body composition. They did enzymes. They looked at everything, including inflammation. They looked at brain cognition. Most comprehensive medical examination of diet, nutrition ever done, okay, by these researchers. And what did they find? The number one reason to do this, Nathan, which no diet has ever produced, even removing a gram of toxins from the body, this is a detox. And they proved through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, this was assisting the body in removing the chemicals. And see what's happening to all of us, Nathan, including you and me, we're ingesting chemicals. There's a new medical syndrome, registered trademark U.S. Patent Office called TDOS. The T is for toxins in our fat cells, the D for the deficiency of food, of nutrition, being overweight, and stress. It's a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office. Peter Greenlaw, who's that? Oh, that's me. I did discover it. It's a really big deal. And what we now know is that we're breathing, drinking these chemicals as the body ingests them. The immune system can't deal with it. So the body takes the chemical and stuffs it inside your visceral fat. That's the fat around your organs. That's the bloating you see in her stomach there on day 1. Sorry, you can see day 1 and then day 30. And what this proved, this is removing the chemicals and those fat cells shrank. Also, she lost no water weight and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass, were Fitbits, they weren't allowed to exercise, okay? Now, what else did they find? For the first time ever, inflammation, which plagues all of us, came down 25% a month. Hunger came down 40%. The diabetics on this, their need for insulin, came down 41% in a month. Most women on this lost a whole dress size in a week, no exercise allowed. Men lost 2 to 4 inches off their waist in a week. I lost 8 inches off my waist in 14 days, 23 years ago, where I also lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks. I've kept the 8 inches, I'm still 34-inch waist today, and I've kept the weight off now for 23 years. Nathan, there's nothing like this on the planet, and I would be very anxious to see, can you show me anybody, especially these people promoting this ridiculous time-restricted eating, how come they don't have any medical proof? You know why? Because the claims they're making are what are called unsubstantiated, meaning they can't back it up. They're giving you basically opinions. I don't care they're showing you before and after pictures. If what they had, I read to you from the studies, in a year, they lost about 14 pounds on time-restricted eating in a year, and 25 to 40% was lean muscle mass. I mean, it's crazy. This is what we're believing. We're believing people, nice person, looks like a nice person, at least from what I determined, he's a chef. He's not the only one promoting time-restricted eating, so don't go down that road. But in that particular case, I know they're charging you like $500 a year for recipes, and they charge you $50 a month to coach. We have the only medical proof in the world. You don't buy anything from us. You're only buying food, and you get free coaching. Do whatever you want to do. And they're losing 14 pounds in a year. She lost 21 pounds in a month. Does everyone see this is a pretty big difference? Nathan, easily, you'll lose 15 pounds in probably 2.5, 3 weeks, max, with no exercise. How does that sound to you, Nathan? Now, Nathan, if you're interested, see right above our head, visit the New Health Conversation. It's free to go there, okay? Now, let's see, are you wanting also to get cut? Let me just show you what, now, no one was allowed to exercise. Let me show you what happens if you exercise. In someone that is an athlete, actually a surfer, lives in Costa Rica, works out 7 days a week. I want to show you in 11 days, Nathan, this will motivate you. This is with exercise, right? So Nathan, look at day 1, pretty damn good shape. Look at day 5, and then and when you say day 12, that's the morning of day 12. So 11 days from day 1 to the left, to the right. Look at that, Nathan. What do you think about that? He obviously didn't need to lose weight. He wanted to detox. He works out 7 days a week. Now, before anybody, and a lot of people come on and they say, oh, you photoshopped that. I had a fitness trainer a week ago. You changed the lighting. No, actually, I know this person. Nathan, that's my youngest son. He's 43 years old. I don't think I'm photoshopping my son's pictures. We don't need to do that because we have the medical proof. Do you understand? We don't have to make up anything. They're all making up stuff. They don't have any proof. Oh, she lost 40 pounds. Really? How much lean muscle did she lose? And was she able to keep it off? Hell no. This is going to change the world, Nathan. It could change your world. Nathan, what do you think, Nathan? Comment about that picture. Or one hero. Who? Look at that. Nathan, what do you think about that? Now, he didn't really need to lose any weight, but you could see what could happen to you, let's say in a month, because you want to lose 15 pounds. Nathan, easily in a couple of weeks, you're going to lose 15 pounds, easily. And then you're going to be able to keep it off for the rest of your life or improve your medical. Look at that. He's ripped. Hello? And he was working out 7 days a week and surfs twice a day. He lives in Costa Rica. How do I get a job like that? Interesting. Good. So Nathan, you understand you can go and visit the New Health Conversation. We're not going to contact you if you go there, but if you go there, look at the medical proof, and if you want to then talk to a coach. The coaching is 100% free, Nathan, 100%. The consultation, the coaching, the only thing you're buying is food, and you don't buy anything from the coaches. You're buying 30% of your food from your grocery store, and the other 70% from these exotic foods. Also, the other thing I should tell you, what about maintenance, Nathan? This morning, I had the world's most perfect meal for breakfast. I'm going to watch football today in about 3 hours, or 2 hours, I guess it is. And then I'll have dinner tonight, and then every 2 months, I'll do another 48 hours of the no food from the grocery store and just these other foods 8 times a day to detox my body. The main reason to do this is to detox. The weight loss is just, but look at this guy. Look at Ken, everybody, 34 pounds in 29 days. Look at the change in his body. Nathan, so sorry, what routine I need to follow in your program? I found that staying hydrated every day and not eating anything synthetic, I lost 15 pounds. One hero, how long did it take you? How do I connect with a free coach? Okay, one hero. Do you see right above his head the New Health Conversation? Do you see that one hero, and also Nathan? And Nathan, let me explain the routine to you again for all of you. Okay, how did he lose 34 pounds in a month? So let's come back and look at Kristen, 5 pounds a week. All right. So one hero, again, visit the New Health Conversation. That's where you go to get the free coach. Got it? 1 month. You lost, let's see, 15. Oh, one hero. You could have lost that in a week. Okay, just to let you know. That's a month. That's way not even in our ballpark. Well, look at Curtis. Look at that one hero. 40 pounds in a month. He lost 10 pounds a week. It took you a month to lose 15 pounds. And I promise you, one hero, that 25 to 40% of that was lean muscle. And the chances of you keeping it off long term are almost zero. I don't care if you exercise, I don't care what you do, because these diets deprive you of nutrition, which causes your body to use your lean muscle for fuel. It's not up for debate. All the medical studies prove that. So I want to explain again for Nathan and anybody of the new people that's on there, how are they doing this? Okay, so let's go over it. So what they did, 30% of the food she consumed, she got a grocery list from the researchers: proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. So whatever she spent the month before on groceries, only 30% she's going to spend this month, and she's going to get a grocery list based on serving sizes. No calorie counting. Does everybody get that? No calorie counting, right? Then the other 70% of the money she had left, she buys these foods from these researchers who'd gone to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but smaller quantities of food. Now, Nathan, this is the part that's important. They created a new way of eating, Nathan and one hero. And they got a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office, of this new way of eating called protein pacing. You all can look it up. So 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. She started with these exotic foods around the world: breakfast, no food from the grocery store; lunch from the grocery store; dinner from the grocery store; and a 4th meal after dinner from these exotic foods around the world. You got that, Nathan? It's okay? So you're going to eat 4 times a day, not twice, not once, not 3 times. It's got to be 4 times, and it has to be spread out. You'll learn all this from the coaches. You all know, so you don't have to worry about it's complicated. You're all going to get what the researchers created for the patients in the studies, called the Blueprint of Success. And all these yellows are daily videos from the researchers who created this, who have no products to sell. They don't have a company, but they spent 40 years of their life to crack the code on obesity, and they're credited with cracking the code on obesity. And they want to make sure that humanity gets to benefit from their 40 years of research. That's it. Altruistic, you can say they have no products, they don't sell anything, they don't gain anything. Obviously, they have no affiliation with your grocery store and no affiliation with these researchers who supply these foods around the world, okay? So 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, no food at all, Nathan, from the grocery store. Now, don't panic. You're only having these world's most perfect meals, but this time, Nathan, or Hero, you're going to eat 8 times a day. You're going to eat every hour and a half for 2 hours. Now, what were the results? First of all, the diabetics on this, which I hope neither one of you are, but there's no insulin spikes. People that weighed 400 pounds were not hungry. If I teach any of you anything, your hunger cannot come from lack of calories. Impossible. Your body has no idea what a calorie is. It doesn't count calories. It doesn't give a damn about a calorie. The only thing your body cares about is nutrition. Now, the other part I want to explain to you, this is not a diet, and I'm going to explain to you why in a moment. This was the most comprehensive medical analysis ever done on a diet, nutrition, or health program. This is a health program. When I say that, what did they measure? Blood. They did blood, stool, urine, fat analysis. They did liver enzymes. They did body composition. They did inflammation. They did cognitive ability in the brain. They measured both water and lean muscle mass as well. So what were the results? The number one reason to do this is detoxification. They proved through the blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, this was assisting the body in removing chemicals from the fat cells. See, that's what you're all doing. You're breathing, you're drinking, you're eating chemicals. No diet that you've ever gone on removes a gram of toxin from your body until now. They proved that this was removing, because they had the proof. They looked at the blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, and the chemicals were coming out of the body, and that's why she shrank. Look at her stomach, everybody, on day 1, that bulging, and then look on day 30. That's no exercise, no sit-ups, no crunches. She wore a Fitbit along with everybody else I've showed you so far, except for the one person who did exercise, what the results were. And they also measured inflammation, the first time in history. It came down 25% in a month. No diet, and for example, like One hero, the 15 pounds you removed, no toxins from your body, and you didn't lower inflammation. And sadly, 25 to 40% of what you lost is lean muscle mass. It's given because you were on some kind of restrictive amounts of food, whatever you want to call it. That's a medical fact, okay? And if it didn't happen, you're a real anomaly, okay? This is so different, everybody, so completely different. So one hero, I gave you that, right? You go to the website and you see, and thumbs up, you got it, everybody. So you understand, visit the New Health Conversation. You can go there for free and see the medical proof. Now, one hero and also Nathan. Let me show you someone who had a lot of weight to lose and did exercise, okay? This is amazing. Brian, he lost 50 pounds in 4 months, and that's a misleader because he gained about 10 to 12 pounds of lean muscle. But look at that body transformation in 4 months. Now that's with exercise and this protocol. I mean, I'd love for you to comment, one hero or Nathan. We've all gone to the gym. We've all worked out. Awesome. Yeah, one hero. But you understand, isn't that crazy, one hero or Nathan? The last reason to do this is to lose weight. I mean, it's the detox that's doing that, plus the proof. This is making lean muscle. That just shows you with exercise what happens, right? And then you look at someone like Andy here, who is a younger, 45 pounds and 60 inches in 30 days. And look at his A1C, 7.9 to 6.2, LDL 120 to 59. And then Christopher down here. That's a little misleading. 29 days, almost 44 pounds, but in 30 days, he lost I think it was 46 or 47 pounds. But look at his triglycerides, 169 to 58 in a month, and his bad cholesterol, 105 to 68. Look at his blood pressure, 133 over 86 to 126 over 73. You think he's extended his life? It's like the weight loss is almost the least important part of this. Over and over and over again. And then Janet, 100 pounds, and she's kept it off for 12 years, not 12 weeks, 12 years. Or this lady here makes me so happy. 200 pounds in a year. Now, if I might share with all of you a personal story of my own and why am I so crazy, passionate, and put up with all the nonsense that people want to take me on and call me a liar and you're full of BS and whatever. It's just ridiculous, but never mind. My own mother was morbidly obese my whole life. She looked pretty much like that as far as her body shape. Obviously, this isn't my mom. And 25 years ago, she called me up one day, my mother did, and she said, my mother was morbidly obese my whole life. I never knew her thin, I never knew her healthy, but I loved her. I went through fat shaming. I would never do that to any of you, okay? And my mom said to me 25 years ago, Peter, I have one really big wish in my life. This was before I was a researcher. I said, Mom, what's that? She said, I would give anything if I could spend one day thin. I said, well, Mom, that's cool. Well, 6 months later, massive heart attack and stroke. I hate diets, I'm going to be honest with you. My mom did about every diet there was on the planet. She went to Weight Watchers. I'd see her lose 4 ounces in a week and she'd get a gold star and come home. She did paleo, she did grapefruit diet. I mean, she'd rip diets out of the National Enquirer. This lady, my mom never got a chance to do anything. She only wanted one day thin, not a week, not a month, not a year. But I really believe we have a saying with this, just give us 4 days. Because most people will lose as much weight in 4 days as in 6 to 8 weeks of any diet they've ever been on. And obviously that creates the incentive. But all of you get a chance to hit the reset button or go back to these ridiculous diets where all the medical evidence, including like Nathan, let me read to you from Medicare. Here's Medicare. Medicare search for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. The researchers at Medicare reviewed studies of long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether dieting is an effective treatment for obesity. The study showed that 2/3 of dieters regained more weight than they lost on any diet. This is Medicare telling you whatever diet you're on now, 2/3 are going to weigh more than when you started. Now that may make you mad. You may think I don't make things up, everybody. I'm called the researcher of the researchers. And we're very clear with the censors on like the community guidelines that everything we're sharing with you, you can go and look it up it's all in the public domain. You can go look up the Medicare study. You can go look up New England Journal of Medicine. There's 68-week study on semaglutide on GLP-1s. You can go and look up why calories don't work. You can look at Johns Hopkins Medical School predicts obesity apocalypse in 4 years. 86% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese. That's you, or at least 86% of you. When are we going to wake up and just say, you know what? I don't think that diets are working, because they're not. Can anybody tell me a diet you think works? Yeah, there's no starving on this because, again, starvation 1 hour comes from lack of nutrition, not from lack of food. You can eat all the food in the world with no calories and you can be starving. Let me give you a for instance on that so you understand one hero. My lungs damaged, gained 100 pounds. Wow, part of mine was good. Well, one hero, this could really, really help you. Good. We see lots of people that, COVID was devastating to a lot of people. But what I want to share with you is that the Lancet, which is the largest medical journal considered in the world, they concluded a study in March of 2024, what was that, 16 months ago. And they now estimate that 2.5 billion people worldwide are overweight, and of the 2.5 billion, 1 billion are clinically obese. And they went on to say, and this is what I'm going to prove to you, one hero, they said, making obesity the leading form of malnutrition in the world because people aren't getting the right amount of vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and botanicals necessary to sustain maximum health. Why do you think those obese people are so hungry? Let me explain to you why. You have a mechanism in your body. You have two of them, ghrelin and leptin. One tells you, the ghrelin tells you that you're full. The ghrelin tells you you're hungry, and the leptin tells you you're full. Well, they've done studies now in people that are obese. They have so much leptin in their body that the body can't determine are you full or not, and they keep eating and eating and eating. Watch that show, My 600-Pound Life. You want to get real, not that anybody weighs 600 pounds, but those people, they're sometimes eating 20,000 calories a day. No matter how much they eat, they're starving. They can't survive without it. And then the doctor on this, wants them to lose 30 pounds in a month when they weigh 700 pounds. She lost 21 pounds in a month. She only had 30 pounds to lose. I bet those people would lose somewhere between 80 and 100 pounds in a month if they did this protocol. We have a young woman in Florida who weighed 5 feet tall, 260 pounds. Listen to this, one hero. 260 pounds, 5 feet tall, no gallbladder, by the way. So one hero, take a guess in 6 months how much weight she lost. One hero, I'd love for you to, or Nathan, you can guess, or any of the other you can guess. So let me give you the picture. 30-year-old woman, 5 feet tall, 260 pounds. Now, I want anybody to give me a guess in 6 months how much you think she lost. Again, 5 feet tall, 260 pounds, no gallbladder. Can anybody give me a guess? Look, there's no wrong answers. I'm just really curious about your how would I say, your interpretation of weight loss and what's possible and what isn't. Wow, Nathan. Ooh, Nathan, and one hero and everybody else. This young woman lost, Nathan, 81 hero. Okay, good. But hero, you're only off by 100%. She lost 160 pounds in 6 months, and she's kept it off now for 2 years. Nathan, you were very close. That is great. And One Health, one hero, I would say you're at the extreme end of what people say. Because, you've heard this about don't lose more than a pound a week. Okay, so she would be at what, 4 pounds a month? She would have been down like 24 or 30 pounds. So Nathan or one hero, do you understand why I'm optimistic that kind of you two and everybody else can really lose weight on this? Well, if you look at Mary, she lost 200 pounds in a year. So, right, and she's kept it off. And then Janet lost 100 pounds in a year, and she's kept it off for 12 years. See, that's the thing that should impress all of you, along with the medical results on all of this, right? The main reason to do this is get as healthy as you possibly can. Why wouldn't you do that? What? You're going to fit in your skinny jeans on this anyway, but you're going to lose weight 12 or 15 times faster than any diet. And you're going to lose it in a healthy way, and you're going to lose no water weight and gain 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. Am I crazy? Probably. But the reason I'm not crazy, it's published I've got them in my hand, 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. Nobody else has that. Nobody. Why wouldn't you all go to the website? Exactly, Nathan. Nathan, I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. How does that sound, Nathan? Because Nathan, here's the thing. You know the main reason to sustain this, keep doing it? For detoxification. Nathan, do you believe we're living in a toxic world? If you didn't, go look at Google microplastics in your brain. From 4 months ago, they're now finding microplastics in our brain and in our coronary arteries. And when they do coronary bypass now, they're finding little pieces of plastic in our body. What? This is crazy what's going on. But we're also storing herbicides and pesticides and Scotch-Guard and Teflon. I'll give you for instance. Good, Jantastic 53. Nathan and One Hero and all of you, listen to this. They did a study on newborn infants about 10 years ago, and they looked at their cord blood at birth. Every baby, when they tested the blood, had an average of 287 toxic chemicals in their blood at birth. These are newborn infants. So how toxic do you think all of you are? No diet has ever removed a gram of toxins from the body until this. The main reason to do this and keep doing it, Nathan, is detoxification. Does that make sense, Nathan? So again, I would encourage all of you, go to the website. If you go, look, visit the New Health Conversation. You all can see it. We're not going to contact you if you go there. We don't do that. We let the medical proof do what it says. And then you can get a free coach or not. It's up to you. We're not going to contact you if you go there. Why would we need to do that? The medical proof is there. My God, I showed it all to you before. Everybody type in the new and Google, the new. It's got to be the new health conversation. And it'll take you to the link in Google. There it is. The New Health Conversation comes right to the top. And there's the medical website with nothing to buy. The only thing on there is the medical proof, including #1 exclusive podcast with the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world. He and his team invented this. They have no products to sell. They don't have a company. They're scientists. But they're going to explain to you why they will never recommend any traditional diet again, where they've done 100 studies over 30 years on every kind of diet you can imagine, thousands of people. They never worked, and 2/3 of everybody gained more weight than they lost. When are you all going to wake up? Diets are dead, finished, calorie counting over. You don't have to, I don't want any of you to believe me. Let me see if I can find it now, just because I opened my big mouth. Where the heck is this? Oh, here it is. Sorry. Here it is. Harvard Medical School. Good enough for all of you? Not me as a source. Harvard Medical School. Stop counting calories. Harvard said, we've been taught that losing weight is a matter of simple math. Cut calories 3,500 and you lose a pound. But as it turned out, experts are now learning that this decades-old strategy is totally misguided. They went on to say the idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, Stanford said. It's time to concentrate on its inner food, not on which food we're consuming. That's exactly what these researchers did, and they have no affiliation with Harvard. Do you really, honestly, any of you, do you really think diets work long-term? Because they don't. Not because I'm saying it. You have these researchers, you think, not researchers, influencers. Just because they say it, that makes it true? Like, time-restricted eating, you can lose 20 pounds in a month and most of it's fat. Complete lie. You can't lose fat on a diet or exercise. You're born with a certain number of fat cells, you die with a certain number of fat cells, and those fat cells are with you your whole life, and they expand or contract. Why are they telling you that? I don't know, but it's wrong. It's a lie. And we know, based on the studies, that 25 to 40% of this time-restricted eating is lean muscle mass. That's what you're losing, even if you lose weight on these stupid diets. And they're stupid. Come on. You're counting calories? Do any of you even give me the definition? No, Marilo, you're full of it. No, that's I shouldn't say that. The plant-based, let me shock you to death. One of the keys to life are amino acids, which are included in plant proteins and animal proteins. But let's get a reality check for you, okay? A plant-based protein contains all 20 amino acids. There are 9 essential and 11 non-essential. What matters to your body is not the fact that when you ingest a plant or an animal, that the protein, 95% of it is absorbed into the body. So you think that's really great. It's nonsense. The only thing that matters to your body is the body breaking down the protein and what's called utilization. In Europe, this is not my opinion, okay? They did the analysis, so blood, stool, urine, fat analysis. these researchers. When you ingested protein from plants or animals, they could tell you of the 20 amino acids, what percent were utilized. Now, this may shock you. A plant-based protein, the absorption or the utilization of the aminos is only 15% out of 100. The other 85% of a plant-based protein is toxic waste. You can look it up. Urea, creatinine, and ammonia, okay? So not that we're against vegans, not that we're against plant-based. A animal protein, the absorption or the utilization is 30%, so twice as much. The proteins they used in this study, the utilization was 91%. You'd have to eat 600% more plants to get the same amount of amino acids, which are the building blocks of life. You're alive because of the 9 essential amino acids. We're not against, there's a vegan version of this, but don't be misled thinking that plants somehow are this miracle. You're getting 15% of the amino acids. Ideally, you'd want 100%. So when you come on here and make a statement like that, the problem is it's not valid in the medical world, and I only deal in the medical world. I don't give we don't sell anything. There are no products. And like I said, there's definitely a vegan version of this. But the vegan version doesn't satisfy the body's need for amino acids. That's the sad part. And I know people have ethical reasons, or they think, you understand plants also have much, much higher carbohydrates. I don't know if you know that or not, but it doesn't matter. So again, when you're making a statement like that, it's unfortunate. And maybe that's what you believe or you think, but the medical evidence, I mean, just says it's a silly statement that the plant is where it's at. It's not. You need vegetables, you need fruits, you need carbohydrates, and you need proteins and fats. So that's just a fact of life, okay? So I know you wrote it twice. Plant-based eating is where it's at. No, it's not, Mariola. You know what they're losing on plant-based? You know what they're losing in a month? They're losing about 1.5 pounds in a month on a plant-based diet if people are trying to lose weight. So again, come with medical facts, not opinions. And I'm not trying to be an ass here. I'm a scientist. I only rely on medical proof. I don't give opinions. Like an opinion would be plant-based eating is where it's at. First of all, there's no such thing as where it's at. It would be plant-based eating is good, but it's not where it's at. That's a bad English, number one. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. People say that all the time. This is where it's at. Well, really? Well, what? It's not English. It's another language. I don't know what language it is. Again, so who else would like to ask me a question? Coffee Hound, you want to ask me a question? One Hero. All of you can go to the New Health Conversation and see the medical proof there, right? So, again, Mariola, you're probably mad at me and think this guy's a real jerk. No, I'm a scientist, okay? And the point is that unless you can bring me peer-reviewed human trial medical studies published in these big medical journals, which you can't do, okay? Because we know, like I said, plants, the utilization of amino acids is only 15%. How would you argue that if you need 100%? How would you argue that a plant-based protein is superior to either an animal protein or, more importantly, this protein source they use that comes from the far reaches of the world where people live to be 100 years old? I don't know. I guess you see, then it's an opinion, and opinions just don't matter. That's what got us in so much trouble. I mean, I can tell you this right now. There are a lot of vegans out there that weigh 300 pounds. Because again, their body keeps telling them they're hungry because they're not getting enough nutrition because of the lack of the amino acids. That's just one example, okay? Plus, you have to understand that like spinach, which is great on a plant-based diet, right? Well, Cornell University did an analysis on the iron levels in spinach from 1957 to 2020. And they estimate that a bowl of spinach in 1950, this is Cornell University, it's not me, that a bowl of spinach from 1957 in 2020, you'd have to eat 20 to 30 bowls of spinach. That's why this whole argument about plant-based is superior, it's not working anymore. Because our food, whether it's broccoli, Brussels sprouts, beans, I don't care, our nutritional values are crashing. I've got a big study here, right here. Over the last 25 years, scientific studies indicate that the nutritional values of fruits, vegetables, grains has declined by as much as 50% in 25 years. So the very thing you're talking about, you need more and more quantity in order to satisfy the survival mode that the brain needs to run all the organs. That's why we're never full, because of the lack of nutrition in the food. So do I advocate plant-based diets? Yes, but in a different way. That's all. It's not me advocate. I don't advocate for anything. I just bring the medical proof. And everybody looks around, go to Walmart, go to Kmart, go to Target today, and see if you think that diets are working. Any of you. So who else would like to make a comment? Because I know I make people mad all the time because I see them jumping off. But would you rather have me tell you the truth, or would you rather have me make up something? Which would you prefer? Would you rather make me, you want to believe my opinion, or do you want to believe medical proof? I mean, I'll give you another big example here. So, you know, keto is a big deal, right? Where you really limit carbohydrates. Well, let's look at the results of a keto diet. So this is a study, an 8-week study published in Nutrients, where they said keto diets lead to 25 to 40% reductions in lean muscle mass and increase osteoporosis risk in obese individuals. Let's do keto, everybody. You can increase your risk of osteoporosis. Because, see, the body needs balance. It needs proteins, fats, and carbs, but it needs the right kind of carbs. It needs the right kind of protein. It needs the right kind of vegetables. That's the whole point. And again, if we're talking about needing to eat 20 to 30 bowls of spinach today to equal what we had in 1957, I think you could pretty much say, Houston, we got a problem. I mean, in 4 years, 86% of us are going to be overweight. 86%. That includes vegans. Sorry to tell you that. So again, who would like to ask me a question? But why am I trying? Who said I was trying? One hero. Why am I trying to ruffle your feathers? I don't get it. I wasn't talking to you, was I? Nothing you can say will ruffle my feathers. What would you think? Why would you think I was trying to ruffle your feathers? I thought you were interested in going and finding out about this and getting a free coach. Did I miss something, one hero? Okay. I understand. I thought I made you mad. I thought we were friends. I thought you liked my research. No, it's because we're shaking their beliefs. You know, I'm sure this is a really nice person who really believes that. But I come off as the bad guy because I'm sharing, here are the medical results, okay? You tell me, one hero. You eat a plant, you get 15 out of 100% of the amino acids. The protein they used in these studies is 91% utilization of the amino acids. Which one would you choose? 15% or 91%? Do you see? And this is why people overeat, because the amount of nutrients. I just read that to you, one hero. Over the last 25 years, studies indicate that nutritional value of fruits, vegetables, grains has gone down by as much as 50%. Well, that plays into what I'm saying. This is why do you think the researchers, one hero, only limited the people in these studies to 30% of the food they consume came from their grocery store? That was all organic. Sometimes it was plant-based. They never found a plant-based diet that ever produced anything even close to this. And on every plant-based diet, even when people lost weight, 2/3 of them weighed more than when they started. Those are just medical facts. It's not like a marketing ploy on my part. We don't have anything to sell you. Be different. Oh, buy this elixir and you can lose weight. No, that's not how it works. Good. I know you are one hero. I appreciate that. That's why I was a little confused. I understand you were actually supporting me sort of in a crazy way. So who else would like to ask me a question? I've got a lot more juice in my, wow, I can see here. But you know what's crazy, everybody? People keep coming and going. We're stuck at 2,000 likes now for almost an hour. I got 2,000 likes like in the first 30, 40 minutes, and then it dissipated. So, hi, Coffee Hound. If any of you like what I'm sharing with you, just tap on that screen to see the medical, to get some likes. So give me a little bit of love here. I've now been almost 2 hours and 30 minutes. So a lot of people have come and gone over the course of that 2 hours and 30 minutes. but I'm going to keep going. But I'd love to get some. I love people helping others. Well, that's exactly what we do. And that's why One Hero, there are a lot of people that come on this, have a great result, and then maybe their cousin, their friend, somebody they go to church with, someone they work with, wants to know how they do it. And so they end up being coaches because we don't, that's our limitation, right? We won't let anybody do this that doesn't get a coach, and the coaching is 100% free. So they're volunteering their time because someone coached them. I know it's a weird concept in the world we live in today, but there was a very famous movie, I think it's like 30 years old, called Pay It Forward. Wonderful, but bring cleanness if you're going to watch that movie. It's fantastic. I'm sure you can get it on Netflix, probably for free now, called Pay It Forward. That's really what we're doing. We're paying it forward. We're simply sharing what we learned with other people because someone shared it with us. So if you're into helping people, that might be something to consider moving forward. We always can use more coaches, that's for sure. Social cognitive dissonance is a tragedy, which is why many leave. No trust in fellow. You mean that's why so many people aren't staying on the podcast? Cognitive dissonance is a tragedy, yeah. Well, the biggest tragedy is that people go on these diets and they have early success and they think it's working, and they don't understand that 25 to 40% of what they're losing on any diet is their lean muscle mass. So they eventually the weight loss stops and then it comes back and they think that diet didn't work, so then they try a new diet. I mean, I'm a pretty simple person. I'm a researcher and I just look at things logically and I go, wait a minute. If everybody's waiting now for January for the New Year's resolution, they've sort of given up, okay, well, I'll get started in 2026. And they're looking for a new diet. My question is, if you go to Barnes & Noble and look at how many diets there are, if any of those diets work, why are people always looking for the next new thing, the Kardashian diet, the Hollywood, I'm making that up. I don't know that there is a Kardashian diet, but the Hollywood diet or the South Beach diet or the, all this nonsense that we're seeing, and yet we're getting, well, from 1995 to 2025, we doubled the obesity rates in North America. Does that sound any of you like diets are working? Does it? So, yeah, our hero, I think we're in violent agreement, actually. So I know for weight loss exercise might not be very important, so is this exercise important? Nathan, I have a trainer twice a week, absolutely exercise, but I don't do it to lose weight. I'm doing it for cardiovascular primarily, okay? That's primarily what I do. I would say that I work out probably half as much as I did 23 years ago, and I'm getting the same or better results because, again, I'm flooding my body with these massive amounts of nutrition that I never got before. It wasn't possible. And I ate pretty healthy. I'm not to impress you, Nathan, or anybody, but years ago, I tried out for the Olympics in skiing. I was a world-class athlete. And 23 years ago, I walked to my doctor's office and he said, if you don't do something radically different today, when you walk out of here, you got about 18 months to live. Nathan and One Hero, my cholesterol was 400. My triglycerides were 300. So he put me on diet, exercise, and a statin. I came back 8 weeks later. I'd lost 8 pounds in 8 weeks, but my cholesterol only came down 15 points. And I walked out of there pretty discouraged. And I ran into a friend of mine who played professional football for the Oakland Raiders back then and turned me on to this. And I went on it. I lost 8 pounds in 4 days, 12 pounds in 9 days, 20 pounds in 18 days, 30 pounds in a month, 40 pounds in 7 weeks, and was scheduled 8 weeks for my last appointment where I'd lost 8 pounds. For my doctor follow-up. So the next week I go in and my doc comes in, so it's my chart down, Peter, you're trying to kill yourself. So what are you talking about? He says, how much statin are you taking? I said, I haven't touched that stuff in 8 weeks. And he said, well, the lab made a mistake. And I said, how so? How so? My cholesterol went from 400 to 120. My cholesterol from triglycerides 300 to 30. I lost 40 pounds, and my heart attack risk went from 85% out of 100 chance to less than 10. That kind of impressed me. But Nathan, so at one point I was a world-class athlete. So when my doctor said to me, diet, exercise, and statins, you understand the exercise was something I knew how to do. But I've maintained it now. I mean, I'm maintaining my weight, but now I only work out a couple times a week, maybe sometimes 3, but most of the time 2. And I think people don't understand that even the benefit that even 2 days a week can have. I mean, there's so many people that are committed to going to the gym every single day. They don't realize they're over-exercising themselves because the food that they're supplying their body with is already nutritionally compromised, and now they're asking their body to put up more energy with less fuel. Does that make sense, Nathan and One Hero and everybody else? So the whole idea of diet and exercise is never, ever, ever been proven as a weight loss strategy long term, ever. It's never worked. And this makes, fitness trainers really mad. They get mad at me. And I just go, okay, where's your proof? And they don't have any. No one's arguing that I don't care what exercise diet you go on initially, you lose weight, but what kind of weight are you losing? And is it sustainable? No, not according to the studies. So, yeah, it makes sense. Okay, Nathan, thumbs up. You get that as well. Right. So the main reason to do this is for health. I mean, I will tell you that right away. I know everybody gets really excited about the weight loss, and that's really important. But when you look at someone like Curtis, everybody, a 65-year-old man, 40 pounds, 52 inches in 30 days, but look at his A1C from 8.4 to 6.4, triglycerides 242 to 124. You think he's improved his health dramatically in just 30 days? Look at his stomach, how much it went down in 30 days. It's not a diet. It's not about counting calories. And he wasn't allowed to exercise. Nathan, to your point, that's what I'm just saying. But it wasn't that they were against exercise. It was that they wanted to eliminate it. Otherwise, you'd never know, was it the protocol or was it diet and exercise? So they had to break that myth, that nonsense that's been around forever, right? And the people that invented this, they've worked with Navy SEALs and Green Berets and Olympians, NFL football players, NHL, baseball, marathoners. So they're not against exercise. But they knew that if this was really going to work, they had to be in a position where they could prove that without exercise, people could lose, 10 pounds a week or more. I mean, if you look at what's so interesting is, not interesting, but exciting, she lost 200 pounds in a year. And think about it, basically 4 pounds a week. But look at the cumulative. But you understand initially, I think the first week she lost like 25 pounds. So that obviously became a big incentive for her to move forward. But you don't understand, little amounts each day really add up in the long run. Because on a diet, you'd be lucky. Well, the diet's pretty much they're losing about 16 pounds in a year. So you do the math on that. That would be in a month, they're losing about a pound, and so 16 pounds, about a pound and about 8 ounces a month. Is that right? Yeah, they'd lose 6 more pounds. 12 pounds, no, 4, no, about a pound and 4 ounces a month. That's more accurate. But again, people aren't going to become toxic, and that's why I stopped eating any processed food. One hero, I was a marathoner and a communicator for the SEALs. I understand the importance of food. Wow, wow, wow. Well, you really get this. No wonder you were talking about public service. I'm serious, One Hero. We could use more people like you to come and help us once you know it works, you don't have to, but maybe you'd be interested in that. We have medical doctors that are donating their time for free. Pediatricians, obstetricians, internists, endocrinologists, because they realize we're up against a crisis and we're up against a timeline. All of you, in 4 years, they estimate 86% of you are going to be overweight or obese in 4 years. Does that sound to you like diets are working? And we've just got study after study showing the nonsense of all these diets. Here's an example. Here's a nutrition journal, a big study, the dietary recommendations for fasting alternate days. So they had them eat for 24 hours and not eat for 24 hours, okay? Listen to the results. After a month, the weight loss was 5 pounds, okay? You think that's pretty good. But the most common adverse effects were dizziness, fatigue, and heart palpitations. This is right in the study. And they're saying that this is still the adverse effects of short-term weight loss strategy that was tolerated by most participants. We suggest dietary patterns during fasted days is less important than calorie restriction during those days should be the focus. So basically what they're saying is this time-restricted eating thing is a bunch of nonsense. I mean, 5 pounds in 4. She lost 5 pounds a week. Do you get it all? They're right in the study. I have it right here in my hand. Nutrition journal. Alternate day fasting, time-restricted eating, fasting, water fast. It's all nonsense. I mean, it's nonsense from a scientific standpoint of view. And that's the only thing that I rely on and that I do. And here's another big study. Why you shouldn't count calories, okay, everybody? Now, for those of you who want to know, we're going to explain to you how is this completely not counting calories and completely different. Just give me less than a minute to read this. Why you shouldn't count calories. Our research has found that the truth is calorie counting is a terrible approach for weight loss. While counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. What's even worse, 2/3 of people that try to counter restrict calories gain back more weight than they lost. They went on to say, counting calories increases chronic psychological stress and cortisol production, two factors that are known to cause weight gain. Again, they're proving to you going on a diet is going to cause you to gain weight. And then a new study 2 weeks ago comes out, low calories diet increased depression. Has everybody been happy on a diet? Because you're in a you're in a deficit, and your brain knows it, and it's freaking out because you don't have enough fuel. What are you all doing, and why are you doing it? And who's giving you the truth other than us? Who's doing it? Now we're down to 3 people, but I don't care. If one of you people, if you can benefit from this, then it's worth it. I do, well, today I won't because it's football, so I'll probably do maybe one more today. On a normal day, because now football's back, so Sundays normally I would do 4 or 5 a day. But during the week, I do at least 4 a day. I'll start at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Do you all get that? So who else would like to ask me a question? Because I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm an open book. This is live, everybody. And for any of the new people that are joining, hello and welcome to the New Health Conversation, where we only present medical proof of this new protocol where she was not allowed to exercise. She lost no water weight and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle, lost 21 pounds in 30 days and 38 inches. Now, you may think that's sensational. You may jump off thinking this isn't real, it's Photoshopped. And if you do feel that way, you're on the wrong podcast. I'm serious. Don't waste your time. We only provide medical proof. That's it. Excuse me. So who else would like to ask me a question about how this is possible or how she did it? I'm an open book. I'm here. This is all live, so you all have a chance to get your questions answered and deal one-on-one. Why should you listen to me? Well, I've been a nutritional researcher for 23 years, not a chef, I'm a weight loss coach, a health coach, no, way beyond. I've written 4 best-selling books, some of the top medical doctors in the world, extensive research for more than 23 years. I did over 20 shows on public broadcasting. I appeared on the 4 biggest daytime shows in America. I did 1,500 live lectures before COVID in hospitals and universities and towns. They even flew me to China for a couple weeks. I also spoke at Autism One in Chicago 2 years in a row, the largest autism conference in the world. But I will tell you this, what we're talking about today is not my research, but we're bringing you the research because we're now at a precipice. Johns Hopkins Medical School, right here, study predicts obesity apocalypse within 4 years. They're saying 86% of you will be overweight, obese, and 50% of you will be pre-diabetic. I know you all have good intentions. You're all on these diets. You all want to lose weight. And now the national attention is even more on us that our food is nutritionally bankrupt. We got poison in our food. You're hearing all this. I've been talking about this for 23 years. And not to brag, but I guess I am. This is a new medical syndrome that we want to make you all aware of. You all have it, including me, called TDOS. The T is for toxins or chemicals that are stored in your fat cells caused by the lack of the nutrition or enough nutrition in the body to help the body get rid of the toxins, causing you to be overweight and stressed. Now, some of you say, well, I'm thin, I'm in good shape. Well, there's a new term now in the medical world called normal weight obesity, which means the way you look on the outside has nothing to do with the way you look on the inside. And every person on here is toxic, whether you know it or not, and you're storing chemicals inside of your fat cells. And when they did study on over 300 really fit people and did MRIs, they found around the brain, the heart, the kidney, breast tissue, prostate in men, this white halo of this toxic fat, where the body doesn't know what to do with these chemicals, so it stuffs it in our fat cells. Every one of you on this podcast is toxic, whether you know it or not. This study, the studies done here, yeah, that's a good thought, Nathan, but that again is pretty low on the totem pole in terms of the effect that it has, because they did diets where they did that. They eliminated all sugar. They lowered carbs. Trust me, in 40 years, they did 100 studies. So they did everything. Not that that's not a good thing, but you got to understand your brain needs 4 grams of sugar every 3 hours, period, you wouldn't function otherwise. So we need, again, it's always in moderation. But again, it's not processed sugar. It's, real cane sugar is what you want. You don't want high fructose corn syrup. There's one of the big problems, Nathan. You'll learn all that if you go through, because you're going to get educated for free. As a matter of fact, and I don't know if I showed this, Nathan, or to any of you before, but the researchers who created this, you get this. It's called the Blueprint for Success. And each one of these yellows are daily videos showing you exactly what to do, why to do it, by the researchers who have no products to sell. There are no products as part of this. This is based on food and a new way of eating, which I'm about to explain to the new people here in just a moment. But Nathan, you're really on to something, but I think you'll find this will just take it to a completely different level. The same thing with you, One Hero. So for the new people coming on, can I get you to put in the chat, would you like me to explain? Now remember, this is the least amount of weight loss people are losing, 5 pounds a week. Let me show you what happens. This is a 65-year-old man. He lost 40 pounds in a month. I know you think it's a misprint. You probably think we're faking it. And if you do, you're on the wrong podcast. I'm serious. Don't waste your time with us. Then go follow the influencers. The difference with us, though, is this protocol is published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. And they did peer-reviewed human trial studies on human beings, not mice, rats, or chimpanzees. No other diet, no other nutrition, no other health plan in the world has ever been published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. This will change the world for the people that know about it. You now know about it by being on this podcast today. So of the people that have come on, like Tiffany, etc., would you like me to explain how in the world is it possible for you to lose a minimum of 5 pounds a week and keep it off? The picture's 8 or 9 years old. All the people I'm showing you here have kept the weight off for 8 or 9 years. That's what should excite any of you. So, Tiffany, would you like me to explain to you how she did this? It's okay if you don't answer. I'm going to explain it to you anyway. You can be mad at me, any of you. So how did she do this? How can you lose 5 pounds a week safely? Lose no water weight. And they measured. She lost no water weight and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle. So here's what makes this so different and unique. The researchers who created this had done 100 studies on human beings over 40 years on every diet out there and came to one conclusion. There was no diet they ever found in 40 years where people lost weight and kept it off. And sadly, 2/3 of every person on every diet gained more weight than they lost, okay? That's where we are as a country, as a world now, right? We got 2.5 billion people worldwide overweight, and 1 billion of the 2.5 billion are clinically obese. This thing is out of control. And what do we keep doing? Coming out with more diets, which are nothing more than schemes to count or restrict calories, which your body has no idea what a calorie is. The researchers use that information to say, wait a minute, we're going to do something different. We're going to create a protocol. No one is allowed to count calories. Instead, we, the researchers, are going to pick foods that have two criteria. One, we're going to be able to give people less food by quantity, but give them more nutrition. And that's what they set out to do. So they went and picked foods. 30%, whatever you spent last month on food, take 30% of those dollars, you're going to spend them at your grocery store with a list from the researchers of proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. But instead of any calorie amounts, they're going to give you serving sizes. So when it's protein, it's how many ounces. When it's a vegetable, is it a third or half a cup, depending on the vegetable? It's all laid out. You get your grocery list for free, and you buy food from your grocery store, but only 30% of what you spent last month. The other 70% doesn't come from your grocery store. I don't care where you are in the world. It comes from these other researchers who for 20 years have gone around the world to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but small amounts of food. Some of the nutrients came from these blue zones where people live and be 100 years old. I don't know about you, but I want to put that stuff in my body. So now they had the foods that she was going to consume, or you would consume, that I did consume. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. Okay, now let's keep going. So what they did by using these foods, they created a new way of eating that they ended up getting a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office of this new way of eating called protein pacing. You can all Google it. And the protein pacing in 7 days, 5 of the days, she had 4 meals a day. She started with these, what they call the world's most perfect meals from a nutritional standpoint. Now, why do they say that? Because the researchers said unless you're on a prescription for low iron levels or low calcium, you need no other supplements on this protocol at all, forever, okay? So what they did, they had her eat 5 times I'm sorry, 5 days a week, 4 meals a day, starting with the World's Most Perfect Meal. That was breakfast, no food from the grocery store. Lunch from your grocery store list. Dinner from your grocery store list. And a fourth meal. It's very important. It's 4 meals a day, the World's Most Perfect Meal. So you're starting, you're bookending breakfast with the World's Most Perfect Meal, ending your day, and in between a lunch and dinner with regular food that you would consider from the grocery store. But they provide that list to you as well. All right? What about the other 2 days? Okay, this is going to spin some of you. The other 2 days, no food from the grocery store at all. Only these World's Most Perfect Meals, but this time you're going to eat 8 times a day, and you're going to do something that's going to spin all of you out of control. You're going to do intermittent nutritional fasting. Notice the word nutritional. You're not fasting. It's not water fasting. It's not time-restricted eating. Well, because they're having 4 meals a day over about 12 or 16 hours. Okay? And what they found, the diabetics in this, no one had insulin spikes. People who weighed 400 or 500 pounds weren't hungry. See, if I can teach you anything, you've never, ever, 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 is that enough never evers? Been hungry because of calories. The only reason you can be hungry is lack of nutrition. And think about it, when you go on a diet and you lower the amount of food you consume, what else are you lowering? Nutrition. So the researchers proved what would happen if you gave people massive amounts of nutrition but in less food. And the results were that they did the most comprehensive medical analysis ever. They did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis and proved, first and foremost, this is a detox. They proved this is helping the body get the toxins out of the body. Evidence, but look at her stomach on day 1 and look at her stomach on day 30. That's with no exercise at all. See, the bloating you're experiencing, you all complain to us about it, is because your body is storing the chemicals in your fat cells and your fat cells are expanding. Don't let anybody ever tell you burn fat on a diet or exercise. Complete lie. Total lie. You're born with a certain number of fat cells. You die with a certain number of fat cells. So if you have a trainer that says, come on, we're going to burn some calories, burn fat, total nonsense. Total nonsense. The other thing that's total nonsense is counting calories. Your body has no idea what a calorie is. Why are you counting calories? That's what the researchers proved. But so the first thing they found is this detox of the body. You know what the second thing they measured first time in history? Inflammation, which plagues me and you and everybody, came down 25% in 30 days. Hunger came down 40% in a month. The diabetics on insulin, their insulin needs came down 41% in a month. And the diabetics on meds, their doctors cut their meds by 50% in 30 days. Look at this, Curtis, 65-year-old man, diabetic, loses 40 pounds, 52 inches in 30 days. But look at his A1C from 8.4 to 6.4. Triglycerides, 242. They dropped to 124 in a month. 40 pounds in a month. That's 10 pounds a week, everybody. And again, if you think it's Photoshopped, you're on the wrong podcast. Go follow an influencer that has no medical proof. We're the only ones with medical proof. Who else? Please put it in the chat. Show me anybody with medical proof. Who would it be? Who would it be? I can't find anybody. And yet you're following these influencers telling you to do time-restricted eating. You can lose 20 pounds in a month and most of it's fat. The minute they said that, they've totally lost all their credibility. And when you look at their credentials, it's a chef. Nice person. They're not scientists. They're not researchers. They're giving you opinions. And they're showing you before and afters with no medical backup. Because let's say someone did lose 20, 40, 50 pounds. 40% of it's lean muscle mass. They're not telling you that. And how many of those people are going to gain all their weight back? I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. Do you really want to change your life, or do you want to keep fooling around? Do you want to keep fooling around in the sense that you keep chasing these windmills, these new diet trends, whether it's the shot now or whatever? And as far as the shot, we're not against the shot. Do I have the research here? I think I do some. Oh, here it is. So let's take a look at the shots, because they're helping diabetics and they're helping people morbidly obese. So we're not against the shots, but we're researchers. You all can go to the New England Journal of Medicine, once weekly semaglutide in adults that are overweight or obese. Because I know a lot of you may even be on the shots, so you're thinking about it. I'm giving you no opinion on the shot other than what's in the study. 68-week study on semaglutide, a GLP-1. The weight loss, right in the study, the weight loss up to 68 weeks, that's a year and 4 months, was 32 pounds. And of the 32 pounds people lost, 40% was lean muscle mass. And they went on in the study to say this is clinically relevant reduction in body weight. 32 pounds in 68 weeks. She lost 21 pounds in a week. He lost 40 pounds in a month. Andy lost 45 pounds in a month. My God, Ken lost 34 pounds in 29 days. It took them 68 weeks to lose 32 pounds. Which would you do? Up to you, not up to us. 34 pounds in 29 days, really? That's more than a pound a day. And I think at 30 days, I think he was down like 36 pounds, something like that. But would you all take 34 pounds in 29 days? Or at the least, Kristen, how many of you would love to lose 5 pounds a week? 5 pounds a week, not 5 pounds a month. How much more excited, how much more motivated would you be to keep doing it? Do you all understand what's available to you? Tiffany, did I make sense? Hammy, did I make sense? Do you understand? This can change your life. And I don't know you, any of you. I don't know if you want to lose weight, gain. We got kids as young as 2 doing this. We have a lady 91 years old. We have people with no thyroids, Hashimoto's, hyperthyroidism, goiter. People with no thyroids losing weight. Are you kidding me? It's not a diet. It has nothing to do with dieting. Weight loss is a wonderful side benefit. So who else would like to ask me a question? Oh, we got 2,200 likes. I've been going almost 3 hours and we only have 2,200 likes? Really? I must be sucking today. So again, if you like what you're hearing, tap on the screen. Let's get some more love. Let's get to maybe at least 3,000 or more before we're done. So who else would like to ask me a question? Anybody? Hello, hello, hello. Because I've gone almost 3 hours, I really should like rest my voice. I don't know, maybe I'll do another one in 15 or 20 minutes. But Tiffany or Hammy, are you clear on what you can do? You can all, the website is above our head, everybody. Visit the New Health Conversation. It's a free medical website. There's nothing to buy on that site. The only thing on the website is the medical proof for all of you to see. So who else would like to ask me a question before I close out this particular podcast? It's now 11:18 on the East Coast. Maybe I'll do another one in, let's say, 20 minutes, so I could do one around, let's say, 11:40 East Coast time. I'll try and come on I just have to rest my voice, otherwise I know I'm going to be not able to talk. But Tiffany or Hammy, before I hang up, are you both clear? You can go to that website, I'll show you right here on Google. You all can go type in the new, it's got to be the new, by the way, because people say I couldn't find it and they only typed in New Health Conversation. No, it's the New Health. There it is. And there's the website. There's nothing to buy. It's free to go there. We won't contact you. But if you like what you see, Tammy or Hammy, Julie, you can scroll down. You get free coaching. The coaching is free. How much is the coaching? It's free. How much is the consultation? It's free. And you're going to buy food. There's no products to buy from us or from the researchers who created this, right? Julie, it's not a product. Okay, Julie, let me do this for you then, okay? So she lost 21 pounds and 38 inches in 30 days. Julie lost 35 pounds in 37 days. And she lost 60 pounds in 3 months. And then this lady here, 200 pounds in a year, and she's kept it off. Would you like me to explain it to you? Does that intrigue you now? It's not fake. This is not Photoshop. This is real. It's not a diet. It has nothing to do with dieting. There are no products involved. It's food and a new way of eating that was created by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. And that website, the New Health Conversation, everything there is the medical proof. But I'm happy to take a minute or two to walk you through exactly what did they do, why is it different, how come it's not a diet. So Julie, would you like me to do that? Please put it in the chat, because I was just about ready to end this podcast, but I will stay longer for you to explain it. It's that important. I always say, if there's one person on my podcast that I can make a difference in their lives, then I want to do that. So again, Julie, there's no products involved. There are no products. It's food. Okay? So Julie, would you like me to walk you through how they did it? I'm still waiting for you to answer me so I know whether you want me to or not. Oh, okay, Julie, great. All right, so Julie, it take me a couple minutes, all right? And please be a little bit patient, but I promise it'll be worth it. First, it was invented by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. They had conducted 100 studies on human beings over 40 years. Now keep in mind, Julie, there are no products. The researchers don't have any products to sell. We don't sell you anything. The researchers found in 40 years, 100 studies, they never found a diet where people lost weight and kept it off. And 2/3 of everybody gained more weight than they lost. They've now been backed up in new studies, for example, in the Medicare, saying Medicare search for effective obesity treatments, diets are not the answer. Our researchers found that long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether dieting is an effective treatment for obesity. The studies showed that 2/3 of dieters regained more weight than they lost on any diet. So let's start with that. Diets are dead, counting calories are dead, etc. Now here's why. The researchers said in all the diets they analyzed, because they were paid to analyze the results of diets over 40 years, right? And they're rated the top weight loss people in the world. So I think we should listen to them. And they said, we have to abandon calorie counting altogether. The human body has no idea what a calorie is. I don't know if you know, I didn't, 25 years ago, I didn't know what a calorie was. And in my 1,000 podcasts, which I've done over the last year and a half, because I do 3 or 4 days, 7 days a week, you do the math, I've had 12 people ever give me the definition of a calorie. So the researchers said what we want to do is eliminate calorie counting and come up with a new way of doing this. We're going to go, we, the researchers, are going to find foods where we can give you less quantity of food, but we have to make sure you have more nutrition. Because what happens to Julie on a diet, when you go on a diet, you're reducing the amount of food you're consuming. I don't care what diet it is, that's it at the end of the day. But what they're never telling you is at the same time, you're reducing nutrition. And when the brain senses there's not enough nutrition, and why is nutrition so important? Because you're alive because of air, water, and nutrition, because the nutrition is what you use to fuel all our organs, our brain, our heart, our kidney, our liver, etc. So what they said was we got to make sure that we don't trigger the starvation. See, that's what happens in the brain. When you lower the amount of nutrition, the brain says there's not enough fuel. It prevents you from accessing the fuel in your fat cell and turns to your muscles for fuel, slowing down your metabolism. That's why you plateau in these diets, Julie, and why you gain everything back. So they put together a food list. And so took whatever you spent last month on your food, total dollars, take 30% of those dollars. That's all you're going to buy from the grocery store, but you're going to have a list that the research put together of proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. Got it? But instead of calorie amounts, they're going to give you serving sizes. But only 30% of what you would buy and 30% of what you would consume would come organic from your grocery store wherever you live in the world. The other 70% came from other researchers who'd gone around the world for 20 years to Russia, to Mongolia, to Tibet, South America, New Zealand, to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition. And some nutrients came from these blue zones, maybe you've heard of them, where people are living to be over 100 years old. I want to put that in my body. What about you? So now they had the foods. Again, there are no products, Julie. This is based on food, okay? Then what they did, they created a new way of eating based on this principle. They were going to have enough nutrition. So what they did, 5 days a week, they let her have 4 meals a day. It's called protein pacing. They actually got a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office, on protein pacing. That's how powerful it was. On those 5 days, 4 meals were what? They started with what the researchers called these exotic foods around the world's most perfect meals, Julie, from a nutritional standpoint. Nothing to do with calories. Got it? Breakfast, lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store, and a 4th meal after dinner, these world's most perfect meals. 2 days a week, you, she, me, whatever, no food from the grocery store. Now don't panic. You're only having these world's most perfect meals, but this time she ate 8 times a day. She was eating every hour and a half for 2 hours. The diabetics on this, no one had insulin spikes. And here's the other part, Julie, I want you to understand what makes this so different. This is the most comprehensive medical evaluation of a diet, nutrition, health plan in history. The researchers did blood, stool, urine, fat analysis. They did body composition. They did enzymes. They measured blood sugar, blood pressure, cholesterol, triglycerides, even brain function. They analyzed water weight. They analyzed lean muscle mass. So the number one thing they proved with this was through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, Julie, this is a detox. It was removing chemicals from the body stored in her fat cells, in your fat cells, in my fat cells. If you look at her stomach on day 1, Julie, look at her stomach, the bulge, and then look at day 30. And no one was allowed to exercise. They wore Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising. Not that the research is against exercise, but if they would have had exercise here, then you would have said, well, they lost weight because it was diet and exercise. No, it wasn't. Okay, so what else did they find? Here was another huge thing never seen before. Inflammation, which plagues all of us. It came down 25% in 30 days. Hunger came down 40% in a month. The diabetics on this, their need for insulin came down 41%, so much so that their doctors monitoring the diabetics who were on medication, they had to cut their meds by 50% in a month. And here's the last part. Notice I haven't even mentioned the weight yet, because the most important part about this is maintenance. That picture's 8 or 9 years old. She's kept the weight up. Every picture I showed you, they've kept the weight up for 8 or 9 years. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. And if we look at Janet here, she lost 100 pounds. She's kept it off for 12 years. This is common across all of these. So Julie, I hope that gave you a general indication. But Julie, more than that, if you look right above her head, visit the New Health Conversation. That's a free medical website. I'm going to show it to you. If you went to Google and you typed in, any of you can do this, right? The New Health Conversation. Look at it right there, Julie. It'll take you, there's the website. Click on the link, The New Health Conversation. There's the website. There's nothing to buy on there, Julie. We won't contact you. However, if you like what you see, scroll down, you get a free coach. That was a lot, Julie, in a short period of time. Does that make sense? Just tell me that that makes sense. And then you do understand you can go and you won't be harassed. You won't be called. You won't be the New Health Conversation. That's a free medical website for you to go. And the coaching is 100% free, Julie. The consultation's free. The coaching's free. People ask me, how much is the coaching? Zero. Free. We all got coached. And you would get coached for free. It's all. So Julie, does that make sense? And you understand if you choose, you can go to the New Health Conversation. You got it? Just give me a yes if that makes sense to you, Julie. I know we always have a delay on the internet. It takes a while for it to come across. But do you see the New Health Conversation? Let me see if I can type it in the comments. Sometimes I can. The New Health Conversation. Okay, so there it is. I spelled it right. Yeah, I spelled it correct. So I put it under your name as well, The New Health Conversation, Julie. If you want to go there, we won't harass you. Do you have any questions for me? Because people ask me things like, well, what if I'm on meds? What if it, we got kids as young as 2. We got a lady that's 91 years old. We have people with no thyroids. We have a man with a heart transplant, people with kidney transplant, people with no gallbladders. We're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or preventing any medical conditions. And Julie, we're the only ones in the world where this protocol is published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. There's no one else I can find on social media that has one peer-reviewed human trial study, and yet thousands and thousands of people are following it. Yes, Julie. Again, now that is something very important you'd want to put in the chat. We'll get you. We have a number of people that have been through chemo that are coaches that volunteer their time for you free. So make sure when you fill out the request, put that in, because I want to get you a coach who is going to be familiar with that and will give you the best advice. But this, you know what this does for people on chemo or radiation? They're able to tolerate, for example, as you probably know, on those, one of the side effects is you lose lean muscle mass. And on this, we want to make sure you can maintain lean muscle mass, because obviously when you're fighting something like that, you want to maximize your immune system. You don't want to harm it. And Julie, sadly, I can address this because my younger brother in 2010 was diagnosed with kidney cancer. My brother was 6'4", and from the time he was diagnosed until he passed away, it was about 8 months. And Julie, when he passed away, he weighed 115 pounds, and he was 6'4". Now, I didn't know any of this in those days. So one of the greatest benefit to a cancer patient is we can help to preserve your lean muscle mass, which is really, really critical. That's why I keep telling people all the time, Julie, it's not a diet. It's not about losing weight. And keep in mind that she, despite losing 21 pounds, gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. So our goal with you would be to help you maintain or increase your lean muscle. Does that make sense, Julie? It's really important you understand, because we don't sell you anything. We're giving you these protocols. Now, there's some other things that you would want to make yourself familiar with. That I wrote a pretty famous, really famous book, actually. Julie, let me explain it to you. It's called Your Third Brain. I wrote it, this gentleman, you can see him in the white coat down there. His name is Dr. Marco Ruggiero. He's considered probably the top oncologist in the world. And we discussed this protocol and additional protocols specifically for people, with either going through treatment or post-treatment. And it's really, really I'm not trying to sell you my book, Julie, so you don't have to buy the book. I'm just pointing out to you that I'm not just making up things. I'm not just some person on here. I've been a nutritional researcher for 23 years, and literally my colleague has worked with two men who won the Nobel Prize in medicine, and is considered probably the top oncologist in the world. So there may be some things in there, but you can talk to the coaches about that. But make sure you put in your commentary, we know that you're undergoing chemo and radiation, and we'll make sure you get someone that is really familiar with what's going to give you the best information. Hello, C. Dugan. How are you today? Julie, does that make perfect sense? And I don't want to leave you, Julie, until I make sure visit the New Health Conversation. Is the free medical website for you to go and see the medical proof and then get a coach. But like I was telling you, if you're going to get a coach, make sure you make a notation that we know that those are the challenges that you're facing. Does that make sense, Julie? I bet it does. I mean, you don't even have to type it in. I'm pretty sure you want to do that. Press now. Did you get my email? I'm going to look as soon as we hang up. I haven't been on that site. I will probably go. What did you press snap? What did you think about that yesterday? I've never seen 3 quarterbacks in one half. Have you ever seen anything like that, press snap? Yeah, I know they won, but it's almost like they lost, in my opinion. I was really, really disappointed. I know that sounds crazy. Go to that site. Thank you you betcha, Julie. Anybody else want to ask me a question? So pressing up, I promise. Yes, that was funny. I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. So I'll go there. I'm almost done with this podcast. So I'll go there right now and then I'll send you the link, okay? I promise I will. I'm going to do it as soon as we hang up because my voice is now going. I've now been 3 hours and 10 minutes press snap, which is like one of the longest podcasts that I've done. I guess I got off track or on track, whatever. Hello, Martin. So for all of you that just came on late, what I would encourage you to do, because I'm going to end this now, see right above her name, visit the New Health Conversation. It's also in the chat. You can see it. I typed it in, the New Health Conversation. That's the free medical website to go to. If you go there, we won't contact you, and you can get a free coach. The coaching is 100% free, like no kidding. Okay, everybody? Julie, you won't be disappointed. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to sign off now. And if all else fails, if I don't do any more today, because I'm going to go watch football here in a little while, true confession, I will be on air tomorrow at about 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I do a podcast every couple hours, okay? Thank you all very, very much. Press snap, I'm going to go and take a look right now. Thanks.